Alrighty, everybody, welcome on into the Central Committee stream with your host, Mike from PA. We are live. How is everybody doing this beautiful Wednesday morning? This is the heart of the Mike from PA stream. We are Mike from PA's undisputed day of the week, the Wednesday. Welcome on in, everybody, and I gotta tell you, things are looking bright. Mike from PA thought has come exactly true. Almost every single element of what I have been arguing. Is this a safe space to bitch about Hassan's soundboard? Absolutely. You and I agree that the worst part of Hassan's soundboard isn't that it exists, but that it is bad. A good soundboard is like this.
Executions in Central Park.
Then die. What do we do? Argue with you? I'm not on the debate team.
Graham died alone.
Don't trust the liberals. They will betray you.
Right? Chat, Mike is
that's
right.
That's just the way
Trump,
it is.
Mike is right.
That's the way it is. Ba, 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 ba. That's just the way. That is actually a way better board. Of course it's a better board. Because it's not generic shit. My main problem with the soundboard is that it sucks. Not that it exists. That it sucks. It's bad in the sense that the sounds are not unique or funny. I think the soundboard should be like, for me, it should be hilarious, funny moments from the stream that call back to like canon points. You know what I mean? Like every single thing that I have on my soundboard is a canon argument like this.
Wild.
That's H3H3 melting down over how many subscriptions I have.
Right? Chat, Mike is right.
That's just the way
Trump,
it is.
Mike is right.
I mean, it's just, that's Hassan yelling at chat that I'm correct, which of course is necessary.
The colonizer lied.
Oh, fuck. That is actually based Hassan AI. This is when we were watching the, what's his fucking name? I can't even remember who used to be Speaker of the House that was thrown out of office by a revolt of the right. Fuck, who was that? He's actually such a fucking loser, I forgot his name. Kevin McCarthy. Okay, yeah, it was Kevin McCarthy, you're right.
If you give me power, I know how to use it. That's why I'm afraid almost of myself.
I mean, Zizekian discussions of power where he says, listen, I'm an authoritarian against the right at the end of the day. You give me the power, I'm going to smash the right. And I agree with that completely. Let's see. I mean, it's just important that you have good soundboards like this. You are just too stupid to understand art. That's why you're dumb. What was I talking about when I had that meltdown? I was talking about something and somebody said something really stupid in the chat. I think it was Andor? What the fuck was it? I don't even remember. Probably Andor, yeah. Or no, I remember what it was. It was Better Call Saul. It was Better Call Saul, not Andor. It was Better Call Saul. And I was talking about Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, and I don't remember exactly what we were arguing about, but I did have that meltdown. I'm pretty sure that's what we were talking about. Also, Will is right. Will is right, but I refuse to be drawn in. I refuse to be drawn into this. I refuse to put Hassan's soundboard. Will Neff agrees, destroy the soundboard. I refuse to make that a major topic of conversation in the stream and put a title at the top. I mean, listen, I literally said the exact same thing as Will. This is the thing that's fucking hilarious. I said the exact same thing as Will. Why the fuck is my title all fucked up? Did you guys notice how it's gotten all blurry? Fuck. It's like, okay, maybe I need to just like increase the font. Okay, I think I fixed it. Maybe I had like a tiny font and it was being stretched. Who the fuck? I gotta actually like make my title not suck shit. Okay, there you go. It's fixed now. What was I saying? I had the exact same thing. I said the exact same thing as Will. I would go to Hassan's house with a hammer and just smash it.
Dude, okay, can I show you guys a clip of what it reminds me of? Yeah, I need you to tune into my stream. This is what it reminds me of. Hassan showing up with the soundboard is like this clip, in my opinion. It's its spiritual successor.
Wait, is there no sound? Where the fuck's the sound? Am I deaf? Can somebody give me the clip so I can get DMCA? He splits sounds. Ooh. Oh. Will never has sound on his VODs, only on YouTube. Huh? How do you do that? The fuck? You're supposed to put music and clips on track 2 since only track 1 is submitted to VODs and OBS. Oh my God, I didn't even know. How the fuck did I not know about this? I was such a dipshit.
Hey, what do you think of these guys?
My God, Frank. My God.
You look ridiculous in those.
Dude, why are you wearing skinny jeans? Because they're hip. And I want to stay young.
Well, stay old, bro, because that looks terrible. Dress your age.
I like them. I think they make me look sexy.
I am getting a tremendous amount of enjoyment watching you parade around in those things, so I say keep them.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's like a Humpty Dumpty vibe going on with those.
It is actually the equivalent of skinny jeans. Although I will say that soundboards were never cool. This is, okay, I get what Will's saying, but this is what it is. You know who else has had a soundboard for a really long time? Jim Cramer.
This is it. I'm going over the top right here. I'm buying the market right here, right now, because I know more than anybody.
This is what he sounds like.
Okay, Peter writes.
Hold on. Never mind. Hold on. I want more soundboard clips.
The first time it was up in 8 sessions.
Okay, what was the other thing Hassan? Oh, yeah.
I'm going to throw you now to Weenie in the Butt in the afternoon.
Weenie in the butt.
97.1.
In the afternoon.
In the afternoon.
Oh my God.
WQHG.
Turn it on and rip the knob off.
You're listening to the radio.
You guys really did miss out on the heyday of terrestrial radio. I'm glad that I got to see the silver era, the last hurrah of terrestrial radio. It feels almost like it connects me back to the ancient times because I'm fucking old.
Who gave this motherfucker a soundboard? The soundboard is diabolical. Unk is on the soundboard again. Every single time Hassan uses his soundboard, I mail in 20 illegitimate votes from our local Republican representative. Every time Hassan uses his new soundboard, I become a little bit more reactionary. We will never forget or forgive the world's complicity in Hassan getting a soundboard. Hassan with a soundboard feels like hearing your grandpa talk about having Riz.
I know there's a lot going on in the world. And you're probably like, Mike, why aren't you talking about how ICE is kidnapping babies? Or Mike, why aren't you talking about how Annie Kasparian is a grifter? Or the New York Times admits China is winning? Or that billionaires are a national security threat? Why aren't you talking about all that really important shit? Because fuck you individually. Ah! Taylor Lorenz is making a video yelling at people who own shitty phones. I love Taylor Lorenz, dude. Like, as I said before, this is what I always say about Taylor. Taylor is so quintessentially Taylor. I definitely don't agree with her on everything. Making a video saying how the phone doesn't cause you any problems is an amazing, honestly, amazing position, and it fucking rules. And I'm glad someone is making it. I'm glad there's somebody out there going, eat dessert. You know, eat dessert. It doesn't do any harm. And then they throw in a bunch of very fine print. As long as your caloric intake is balanced to your basal metabolic rate, and you are getting your rest of your nutrients, and you get 8 hours of sleep. And there's a long list of how dessert doesn't bother you. It doesn't bother you. If you're willing to offend with honesty, you're not a good journalist. I admire that. I think Taylor is fucking awesome. Unironically, no cap, no sarcasm. Her takes are just, they're so good. You know what it's like? Her takes are like caviar. You know, when you're at an event and you go and get yourself a little cracker, maybe a little bit of butter, eat yourself a nice big spoonful of caviar, you're good. You know what? That was tasty, but you're good. You know, you don't want to have a big bowl of caviar for a meal, okay? But having a cracker or two as an hors d'oeuvre, you know, I can understand the appeal. It's a unique flavor. It's interesting. It tastes decent. It tastes good. But you don't want to walk around with a big bowl of it going like, You just have to have a little bit. Just a little bit. It's a delicacy. You know, you don't want to fill up on it. Are we allowed to say cracker? Yes, you're always allowed to say, you know? It's like, or she's like, her takes are like capers, you know? Very good as a garnish, very tasty. Oh, I guess you aren't allowed to say cracker. Is it still auto-modded? I have the lowest version of auto-mod. So I don't know why it's fucking getting blocked. Sorry, guys. Looks like you can't say cracker. All right. Will Nuff has come out as anti-soundboard, and I support him. I'm getting reports that Israel is donating. I legitimately, can I be serious for one more second about Hassan soundboard? Why? I mean, I'm serious. It is funny. It helps me pay attention, not gonna lie. Get medication. Get medication. Unironically, if you have trouble paying attention to my stream or Hassan's stream, that's literally a you problem. Like, I'm not even kidding. I'm unironically saying, get medication. The more you complain, the more he's gonna use it. Bro, you gotta reverse. I tried that. By the way, this is a secret position of the stream. We're not gonna tell Hassan our position. Go in there and be like, Mike from PA thinks it's super cool. Mike from PA stream loves it. We're all in favor of it. Now, this is a psyop. If anybody asks you if I'm actually in favor of it, say no, of course not. But this is a psyop because I'm in my 40s. And if I say it's cool, you know, he's gonna start going like, wait a minute, the boomers like it? It's about reverse psychology, okay? Tell him you're now soundboard buddies. That'll get him. Oh my God. Yes, okay, I have AOC. Okay, we have AOC up as the background. Perfect. Okay, now we're cooking with gas. Okay, let me put a title up. Okay, this is the secret strat. Okay, this will be my title. We'll put AOC in the background because this is such a perfect title. Okay, guys, hold on. I'm gonna pretend that this is my position. Are you guys ready? Okay, alrighty. What's my worst sound on my soundboard? Beta. These are things that I don't like. Guys. Okay, are we ready? Okay. Guys, Hassan and I are soundboard buddies now. Look at how cool my soundboard is. Isn't that cool how we're now soundboard buddies?
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Put the glasses on! Put them on!
My wife. Borat.
The colonizer lied.
Yoink! Wow, I love soundboards.
Shit. Right?
Chat, Mike is
that's
right.
Just the way
Trump,
it is.
Mike is right.
Right?
Chat, Mike is
that's
right.
Just the way
Trump,
it is.
Mike is right.
I think this is so cool. We're soundboard bros. Okay, clip over. All right, good. Now we can psyop. Now, it turns out I've got a fever and the only cure is more soundboard. Oh, I'm glad you're here because I've got more soundboard. Hey, everybody, do you hate the soundboard? No, unironically, like let's drop the bit for a second. If you hate the soundboard, put it in the chat. Say, please, no more soundboard. Okay, chat. Looks like they're all admitting it.
Right to jail, right away. Right to jail, right away. Right to jail, right away.
Wait. Fuck is going on with my what the fuckity fuck? Chat, am I still with you? My fucking OBS crashed. This is so fucking annoying, dude. Instant soundboard discourse equals breaks the stream. I'm just restarting. Fuck it. All right, we're back. Amazing. We love this. Don't we just love that we crashed the stream? Amazing. Okay, let's change our title to Mike is totally not malding. Mike is totally not malding right now. Okay, hold on. Oh yeah, look, this is fucked up still. Cool. Okay, we're back. Let's get into the politics now. Let's get into some politics now, chat. And the best way to do that is holy Toledo.
Extreme interest. This is not going away here.
No, it is not going away. If the Trump administration and Donald Trump in particular believe that they can wish this story away, the American public have a different tune to sing. What are we talking about here? Well, let's take a look at Google searches for Epstein. In fact, in the month of February, it is higher than it's ever been. Up like a rocket, up 900% versus a month ago. And the top name associated with Googling for Epstein, well, it is Donald. So the story isn't not going away. It's actually getting searched more and more, becoming more relevant in the minds of the American public.
It's so interesting. This is, more than it was when Congress voted to force the release them, more than it was when they actually released some of them, more than it was when they released more of them. Now it's the most it's ever been.
The most it has ever been, and the previous highs were also very high.
All right, let's talk about what this means for President Trump. How do people view his handling of the whole issue?
Yeah, this is bad political news for President Trump. Yesterday we spoke about the fact that Donald Trump's overall approval rating, his net approval rating, was at a record low for term number 2. What is the worst issue?
Okay, can we just talk about, can we look at this? He's being taken out. And this is another, I mean, I'm sorry to say it, chat. This is another Mike was right moment. This is another Mike is right moment. I've said the left needs to have a conspiracy brain. The left needs to have a little bit of conspiracy fun. Whatever side has the conspiracy side on it is the one that's going to win. That's the one that's going to win. That's the one that is more exciting. And so if we're out there saying maybe Israel got Charlie Kirk, Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad agent, the entire establishment Democratic Party is on the Epstein files, that's going to lead to us winning. Now, there are some of you who might be a little bit nervous and go, well, Mike, shouldn't we stay to what we can prove? And I agree. I don't think we should argue that those things are definitively proven beyond a reasonable doubt, but there's enough probable cause evidence to be concerned, you know, and the incentives are all wrong. And so when there's smoke, you should look for fire. If it turns out that you have definitively proven that the smoke is from a smoke machine and not from a fire, well, then okay. But we should look for the fire because you don't want to miss a fire. You know, fires can spread rapidly. The problem is that ends up justifying shit like pushing Russiagate. See, Russiagate, very specifically Russiagate, was coming from a context that is completely different than what we have now. And specifically the Epstein shit and why it's so important is it directly implicates all of our political enemies. And I don't know if you know this, but Russiagate is washed compared to the Epstein files. Nobody gives a fuck about that shit. I mean, it's just the way it goes. So we are in a moment where the conspiracies are on our side. So seize the moment.
For Donald Trump of any of the major issues. Look at this. We got them all up on the screen. Immigration, foreign policy, the economy, trade and tariffs, and then all the way down at the bottom is the Epstein.
This chart is crazy. Epstein search interest is fucking going crazy. Tiny little blip around 2020. But now it's like amazing.
Look, he's underwater on immigration, foreign policy.
And look at this, chat. Look at this. We, the left, are standing up and fighting back against Trump, and on every issue he's fucking cratering because we're standing up, because we're fighting back, because we're making it hard. One advantage that we have is that immigration is a very disruptive policy. The thing about the Republicans is they are the dog who caught the car. What do I mean by that? When they were just kind of promoting this like shitty, judgmental, racist, dog whistly type shit, that was one thing. Then you could take advantage of the otherizing that people do to people they're not familiar with, or not, you know, how people feel a little uncomfortable or unsafe in a situation where people are talking and they don't understand the language. That's just your paranoia. And admittedly, you know, it can make you feel like an outsider. And that feeling of feeling like an outsider is fearful. Fear-inducing. And so when the Republicans were just trading on that shit, immigration was a winner for them. But they are the dog who caught the car. They did so much demonizing of immigrants. They've had said so much racist shit that kind of like bitchy, you know, kind of whiny, judgmental lies about immigrants, that's not good enough anymore for their base. They wanted to see action. If immigrants are actually as bad as all these Republican politicians say, shouldn't we be doing something about the immigrants? And so they fucking caught the car, right? In the past, the Republican Party, they used to speak out of both sides of their mouth. On the one hand, they would demonize immigrants, call them dirty, say they were suspect. But on the other side of their mouth, they'd be helping corporations bring in immigrants to serve low-skilled, so-called jobs where they could exploit them. That's George W. Bush in a nutshell, right? And so that world of like demonizing immigrants but kind of profiting from them, that's how the Republican Party, the capitalists, squared the circle. But now they actually have an anti-immigrant policy. And the thing is, immigrants in America, we are so lucky. We have the best immigrant population in the world. And it's for a variety of reasons. One, we're actually separated from most of the world's hotspots by a significant amount of distance. So we're not seeing true mass migration from radicalized populations coming from war zones. That's really not happening, okay? So what immigrants are we getting? We are getting immigrants that have pretty much the identical culture to America, or a compatible culture, very similar culture, Roman Catholic, Spanish speakers, and a lot of that culture is already prominent and integrated throughout the United States. And so the immigrant population that we get in America is literally just making us better off. It comes with almost no downsides. Now, anytime an immigrant population comes in and they have slight cultural differences or language differences or cultural practices, but Mexican cultural practices are very, very compatible with American. And I'm not even from the South. I'm from the Northeast. Like, it's not that we're identical. It's that we're compatible. We're similar. It's like Canadians, and Americans. It's not that they're identical, but they're very similar. And so what the fuck are they even complaining about? It doesn't even make sense. Okay. And so America going after these immigrants is going to be a lot of really nice people that are fully integrated into their community being ripped out. And all the like kind of otherizing and all of the way that people talked about immigrants that are Republicans, when they actually realize who is being targeted, it's the guy they know. It's the handyman. It's the groundskeeper. It's their roofer. It is members of their community. The guy at the Little League game. I mean, our immigrants fucking play baseball. Like, how stupid is this bullshit? We have immigrants that are playing baseball. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? The game sucks. Like, what are you talking about? It's actually one of the things that blows my mind the most. Take it back. I actually played baseball a lot. That's why I could say it sucks, because I love it. And so, like, now that they're actually trying to do a mass immigration purge, people fucking hate it. Because of course they do. The idea that immigrant populations in this country do anything but help this country thrive is bullshit. Now, like every group of human beings, there are pieces of shit that are also immigrants. But a percentage of the population, it's actually lower than native-born Americans. So the more immigrants come in, the less likely you are to run into a criminal. The less likely you are to run into a deadbeat. That's the thing that's even more insane. Because the immigrants that do get to America, they either are from our bordering countries, which are friendly, solid countries. They have their problems, but they nothing that's much worse than the U.S. We have horrible problems too. Or they are people that had the wherewithal and the ambition or the drive to cross oceans or walk thousands of miles. I'm sorry, if a person can walk 1,000 fucking miles to get to the United States, they're probably a pretty hard worker. They're probably a pretty indomitable spirit. They're probably someone we should like in our country. People don't walk 2,000 miles and go, I figured out that I'm lazy. It's just stupid. On its face, it's stupid. And so, of course, when Donald Trump and the far right get their way and they start setting up their Gestapo group, it's fucking failing. It's fucking despised. Of course. And so, and then on every single other area, he's a loser. He's a fucking loser.
Policy, the economy, and tariffs, all between minus 16 and minus 25 points. The Epstein case, though, is on another planet. Look at this. Negative 39 points. He's 39 points underwater. Basically a split between 30% approve and 70% disapprove. The Epstein case is not the story the Trump administration and Trump in particular and Republicans at large want in the news, because it is a big political loser for him. And these numbers have remained very consistent. No matter which poll you look at, he's about 40 underwater in the Epstein case, by far his worst issue, and he's not actually good on the rest of mine.
Yeah, from a political standpoint, ABE, anything but Epstein, really, for President Trump there. How about among Republicans?
Okay, so if the Epstein case is something that absolutely is terrible in the minds of the center of the electorate, among independents, in fact, the number is closer to minus 50 on the net approval. If it's absolutely terrible among the center of the electorate, among Republicans, look at this. GOP who approve of Trump, immigration, the economy, foreign policy, trade, tariffs, all of them basically between 77 and 85. But look at the Epstein case. 55% of Republicans approve of Trump on the Epstein case. It is something that divides Republicans, and it is something that the overall electorate really doesn't like.
I mean, they love him on almost everything else, but Epstein, not so much.
Not so much, and that's the reason why Thomas Massey's attacks really seem to have an impact.
Former First Lady and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is accusing the White House of a continuing cover-up. At issue is the handling of the release of the Epstein files. Here's what she told the BBC while speaking at the Munich Security Conference.
I think everybody should testify who is asked to testify. I just want it to be fair. I want everybody treated the same way. That's not true for my husband and me, because other witnesses were asked to testify, they gave written statements under oath. We offered that. They want to pull us. Why do they want to pull us into this? To divert attention from President Trump. This is not complicated.
CNN's Annie Grayer joins us now with her latest reporting. So what
Did someone tell Hillary Clinton to shut the fuck up and never talk about anything, because anything she associates herself with is going to get fucking destroyed in the people's minds and become a fucking L for the Democrats? Can you just retire? Can you just go away? Why is she still around? Who likes her? Nobody fucking likes her. Open Presidents, thank you for the 100. It's just like, I was talking about how we need to embrace the conspiracy theories, and then Hillary Clinton's like, yeah, really good. Yeah, let me talk about this. Frazzle Drip, get the fuck out of here. Mike, did you see the New York Times talk to Dev voters? They want progressives. Oh, yeah. Definitely, we're going to talk about the New York Times.
else did Clinton have to say?
This is a really interesting interview, Boris, because it's the most extensive comments we've heard from Hillary Clinton on her views on all this. And of course, she doesn't mince words when it comes to her views on how the Department of Justice is handling this, accusing them of a cover-up. But she's also very critical of the Republicans on Capitol Hill, accusing them of singling her and her husband, former President Bill Clinton, out here, saying that others in this investigation who were subpoenaed were able to provide written statements under oath, which they did. But the Republicans on Capitol Hill insisted that the two of them appear for in-person depositions, and she's arguing that's not necessary. Now, she was asked explicitly about the photos that we've seen from one of the Department of Justice releases of the former president in what appears to be a hot tub with a woman whose face is redacted that the Department of Justice says could be a potential one of Epstein's victims. And she was asked if she knew any context around this photo. Take a listen to her answer there.
And it wasn't a hot tub on a plane. It was one of the stops they made to look at philanthropic and charitable work that my husband has done, saving literally millions of lives.
Oh, God. Don't even get me started. The Souter, oh, my God. The Clinton Foundation was a complete and utter failure. Shut the fuck up. It was always a grift. You're a lying sack of shit. You've totally bungled billions of dollars in Haiti. Lock her up. Hillary Clinton being free is a fucking slap to the face of justice.
Around the world. It turned out that was done long before there was any public awareness and certainly any conviction of any crime by Jeffrey Epstein. Bill and I had a penny for every person we've taken pictures with. We would be extremely rich today.
Now, also in this interview, Hillary was asked directly twice if she had any regrets about her or her husband's interactions with Epstein. And she said, you know, I've never met.
You are rich. You became rich from grifting and taking speeches before you ran for president where they gave you open bribes. Who are we fucking kidding here? What are we like? Who are we kidding here? Stands for the Democrats psychologically identify with centrist Dems as a substitute for identifying with their political goals. This is why Bernie lost and is still the biggest hurdle left to any left challenge to the party. That's why AOC being popular among normie Democrats is a good thing, not a bad thing. Like, people go like, oh my God, like, I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. People will say on the left, I can't believe AOC endorsed Kamala Harris at the 2024 DNC convention. And I want to tell you something, chat. I considered the working tirelessly for a ceasefire to be a dumb fucking comment because it wasn't true. And that's what a lot of us on the left fixate on because it pisses us off that we were unable to affect the Democratic Party and Kamala Harris to make her pick politically and electorally viable position and the morally correct position. And we see AOC as that leverage, right? And so when AOC and Bernie Sanders endorsed Kamala Harris, that made us feel like they were abandoning us in favor of the establishment, right? Like, that's what it really comes down to. That's what people are mad about, right? That we're too weak to effectively get our policy positions in power. But you're thinking about it from the perspective, a highly engaged, politically aware person who is talking about and thinking about and making political decisions on issues, which is why I yelled at her and why. And by the way, I think there's a little bit of chronological muddling. People were still hopeful that Kamala Harris might pivot on Israel up until the last day of the DNC. All of us were hoping that she might pivot. She might come out and say something at her speech. All of us were still coping. All of us were coping. Everybody was coping. Okay? And then She came out on the last day in the DNC. She kicked out. She said, I'm not going to allow any Palestinian speakers. She kicked Hassan out of the DNC. She came up and gave that big right-wing warmonger speech where she declared her alliance with Israel. And we were all in fucking shambles. Okay? That's the reality. That's the sequence of events that took place. Okay? AOC's speech was before that event, while we were all in cope mode, while there was still hope that a Palestinian might go up. Now, I'm not forgiving AOC. She got bamboozled by the fucking establishment, and that's an embarrassing L for her. And it's a reason to be like, AOC makes some mistake. Like, nobody is infallible, okay? That was a massive, massive error. But do you know what AOC did not do? Change her position on Gaza. She didn't say, I've been convinced by Kamala Harris, now I'm going to tell you it's not a genocide. No, she's been getting better and better and better on that position. You know who didn't change their position on the genocide? Kamala fucking Harris. You know who else is going to be running for president in 2028? Kamala Harris. So you're going to have the choice between somebody who was principled on this shit, who said it from day one, or the person who still supports the genocide. Do you understand? Now, what is the positive of what AOC did? She went in front of all normie Democrats, and they saw her for the first time, and they like her. Is that worth it? If it leads to us cutting off weapons to Israel because she wins the presidency, that's fucking worth it to me. And so at the end of the day, that's what politics is. If you think you can play politics and never dirty, then you're not in the game. The only people who stay clean in politics are the people that are not playing. It is literally impossible. You are going to have to make compromises. You're going to have to make decisions. Playing politics is like fighting a battle on a submarine. Sometimes you have to close the bulkhead while people are on the other side drowning. It is a dark, dirty, smoky, dingy, uncertain mess. That is the game. If she fights against Jeffries for speaker, she will prove she has what it takes to be president. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but that's very unlikely to happen because there's not enough anti-Jeffries politicians in DC, which AOC cannot do that. Like, I need you guys to understand. If you want an anti-Jeffries politician, if you want Jeffries kept in line, then you need to have a Democratic president who's to his left, and you need a bunch of Democrats in Congress who are to his left that are yelling at him and threatening him. That's how it works. When you put all of your, is AOC your congressperson? Is AOC your congressperson? Meaning the person that represents you in Congress. If AOC is not in your district, you should be yelling at your fucking congressperson. You should be joining in a progressive challenge of your congressperson. That's your fucking job. That's the problem with the internet. The internet is people think you get to select your congressperson from the entire country and go, which is the congressperson who I agree with the most? That's the one I'm going to talk to all the time. No, motherfucker. You have to be involved in your own governance. Is your congressperson Hakeem Jeffries? And the reason why I'm talking to you like this is because this is what it is to be an adult. You've been talking to a lot of grifter content creators who talk about politics for fun and entertainment. They're not training you to be really engaged. They're not telling you hard truths. They are sitting on their streams trying to get money and attention, and they're trying not to offend you. I'm here to teach you. I'm here to educate you about how the world is, and I want you to be useful. That's my goal. I'd rather have 5,000 useful people than 20,000 idiots that I'm scared of. And that is the important point that I really need people to understand, is it's like, listen, I have my criticism of AOC. I yelled at her over her dumb vote on an amendment to a bill she ultimately voted against. That was her worst vote. For her 8 years in office, she has one vote that absolutely pissed me off beyond belief. One time. And I yelled at her for it. Do you know how many votes John Ossoff has made that has pissed me off? 70% of his votes pissed me off. The majority of votes pissed me off. No more Tectone coverage, for the love of God. Why? Why are we talking about Tectone? I didn't even mention
Epstein, and she had only limited interactions with Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's former girlfriend and co-conspirator, and said that her husband's interactions with Epstein are well documented and that neither of them had any knowledge of their crimes. So a lot to unpack from this interview.
Now, both her and the former president are set to appear for closed-door depositions in the House's Epstein probe later this year. She's pushing for those to be made public. What's the likelihood that that happens?
So we got some new insights from her comments in this interview as well, where she says that she will show up for her deposition, but she would prefer it to be an open hearing. Now, saying she's going to show up, I think, is all Republicans on the Hill are looking for. They've said, we want to do this deposition first. Maybe we could do an open hearing in the future. They haven't ruled that out, but it seems like all signs are pointing toward these depositions being on for the end of this month. Both Hillary and Bill Clinton are expected to appear separately February 26th and 27th.
All eyes will be on those depositions. Annie Greer, thanks so much for the reporting.
There is more fallout from the Epstein files because there's so many of them. Reporters continue to go through them. And this latest news is that billionaire Tom Pritzker says he is retiring as executive chairman of Hyatt Hotels after his association with the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein came to light. He released a statement that said in part that he deeply regrets his ties to Epstein and co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell, and that he exercised terrible judgment in maintaining contact with them. CNN has also learned that 6 companies linked to Sarah Ferguson, the ex-wife of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly Prince Andrew, are to be shut down. Ferguson is listed as the sole director of the companies. It's not clear exactly what services those companies provided, though.
Well, the mayor of Los Angeles said,
Man, it's not clear what services they provided. That's called intelligence. That's called Mossad. That's called a Mossad cutout. Every single one of those companies should be shut down. Everyone who works for them should be arrested on suspicion of treason.
As the head of the LA Olympics should step down because of information about him revealed in the Epstein files. Karen Bass is
This is so fucking based. Karen Bass, way to go.
Wasserman's flirtatious emails with Ghislaine Maxwell are causing a distraction for the 2028 LA Games. Other people are also feeling the impact of being named in the Epstein files. Billionaire Thomas Pritzker has stepped down as executive chairman of Hyatt Hotels. He said he never should have remained friends with Epstein after Epstein was convicted of sex crimes. And Hillary Clinton is accusing the Trump administration of hiding information in the Epstein files. The former U.S. Secretary of State tells the BBC that the redactions and slow release of Epstein's emails are part of a cover-up. Hillary and her husband, former President Bill Clinton, are due to testify to Congress about their connections to Epstein later this month. She says Republicans are treating the Clintons unfairly and trying to distract from President Trump's ties to Epstein. Have a listen.
I think everybody should testify who is asked to testify. I just want it to be fair. I want everybody treated the same way. That's not true for my husband and me, because other witnesses were asked to testify. They gave written statements under oath. We offered that. They want to pull us. Why do they want to pull us into this? To divert attention from President Trump. This is not complicated.
Do we know if these demons and ghouls are going to testify before or after the State of the Union? AOC is now the kingmaker of the Democratic Party. Not wanting to use that to challenge the Democratic establishment in any way would be a bad sign, but she is. She is, but she's doing it in a structural way, not the baby bitch way that you're talking about, which is she is supporting politicians that are to the left. She's campaigning for people in primaries. She's donating money. She's building up her independent influence. She's like... What do you think the oligarchy tour was? The oligarchy tour was to do 2 things. Go around the country arguing against the DC narratives that we need to go right? That was the coming out of 2024. What was the narrative? The narrative was we have to go right on immigration. We have to go right on trans kids. We have to throw trans people under the bus. We got to throw immigrants under the bus. And then AOC and Bernie did the oligarchy tour around the country. They brought up a bunch of local left-wing leaders and all these little rallies. And they broke the narrative because there were so many people flowing to the Stop Oligarchy rallies. Their approval rating went up. Everybody saw them as the leader of the Democratic Party. The left has surged in popularity. What the fuck are you talking about? They're doing exactly what we wanted. They saved us from the Democratic Party falling off and just collaborating to Trump out of fear. Bernie and AOC literally stopped the discourse from spiraling into fascist collaborationism. That's literally what they did. I was there. I went to a rally. I was given a VIP pass. They were supporting me. They were supporting Hassan. Do you understand the difference? So and again, that was not even a year ago. Now, then they helped Zoran Mamdani win the mayor of New York. They just won a fucking massive upset in New Jersey, which, by the way, the online left was nowhere to be found on that one. Just so you know, that was AOC. That was Bernie that won that. They wrangled fucking Ro Khanna. They wrangled fucking Elizabeth Warren. They won that from air power. From the DC progressives won that one. We were nowhere to be fucking found. She was out there saying it was a genocide. Bernie Sanders was doing rallies with her. She was calling it a genocide. Did we do anything? We barely helped her at all. That's a fucking reality. That's the truth. The idea that they're just sitting back doing nothing is just wrong. The problem is you think that your job is to observe other people and comment on them doing shit instead of getting your hands dirty and going doing shit yourself. And the libs ate it up. And now because of their shit, let's talk about this. New York Times, focus. Dem voters want socialism. This is literally happening. And it's something that I've said for a long time. Do you guys remember when Bernie Sanders lost the primary? Do you guys remember what I said in 2020? Do you remember what I said? I told you, I looked you in the eye in March of 2020 and I said it's going to be 8 years until our next opportunity. It's going to be a rough 8 years. We're going to be fighting tooth and nail to defend the gains that we've made. We're going to be fighting the establishment. We're going to be fighting the Republicans. It's going to be 8 years. And a lot of people at that time took that as a black pill 6 years ago. They took that as the black pill. Oh, God. And I told them that 6 years is going to go by in a flash. And we're going to have another opportunity. And next time, we can't miss it. If you didn't leave everything out on the field in 2020, if you kept anything back, that might have been the difference. We're going to have one more shot. One more shot. And anybody who doubts how important having somebody like AOC as president is a fucking moron. Legitimately, you are wrong. And it's not even close. Now, is she going to do everything I want? Is she going to be more right-wing than I want? Yes, of course. But when you look back at history, when you have a progressive president, they inscribe indelible progressive change into the face of the fucking country if they get that chance. Because of the political effort to get FDR elected in the 30s, when my grandfather died, the reason why my grandmother was able to support herself is because of social fucking security. If it wasn't for that, I don't know what she would have done. I guess family members would have had to live with her permanently, full time. Without Medicaid and Medicare, you know how many people would have died from lack of healthcare? Like, these things fucking matter, man. And we have an opportunity to do big shit, to change the fucking course of history. And they are not going to be able to resist us. They don't have anyone. Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, we could win. The reason FDR started to write the New Deal is because he saw elderly people eating out of a garbage can. Because 70% of elderly people were living in poverty before he passed Social Security. AMLO was more right-wing than Claudia, but now they have set the stage for even more leftist president to become come after Claudia because of all the social networks they're implementing. Like AMLO did Social Security for them. Claudia lowered work hours in a day and raised minimum wage. Yes, they just lowered full-time work hours in Mexico to 40 hours a week. They just passed the first labor law in Mexico's history. They've raised the minimum wage 150% to the third highest in Latin America. And if there's a left-wing Democrat or left-wing president of the United States, Claudia will be able to send oil to Cuba. The Cuban people will be able to lift the sanctions and develop with the rest of the world. Socialist movements around the world will have an opportunity. Left-wing movements in Europe will explode because Europeans like to copy America. Sorry, but it's true. So let's talk about what normie Dems say. What word would you use to describe the Democratic Party? Paralyzed, sold out, afraid. These are boomers, guys! These are boomers! These are the Debras! This is Denise! Show up for us. 13 Democratic voters on Trump, ICE, and their frustrations with the Democratic Donald Trump's second presidency has remade American life in just a year. Many Democrats and others worry about the erosion of civil rights, cuts to the social safety net, and the significant aggressive increase in deportations across the country. Amid major debates among activists, pundits, and elected officials about what direction the party should take, Times Opinion assembled 13 Democrat and Democratic-leaning voters to ask how the party is handling the moment, what changes and reprioritizations they want to see, and what kinds of Democrats are standing out. People will look at AOC and they'll go, she's too popular. I want to pick Ro Khanna, a fucking actual crypto sellout. Now, I don't want to go after Ro Khanna. It's not I don't want to be blasting Ro Khanna. I don't want to be trashing Ro Khanna. But if you Ro Khanna supporters are going to come after AOC, then I'm going to have to crack his skull. And he's a mutual of mine. Just so you understand how not a fraud I am, AOC mad at me because I criticized her dumb vote on the Iron Dome. Ro Khanna, my mutual. His people DM me all the time. I will burn Ro Khanna because he's bad on policy. I don't give a shit. I only care about policies. And Ro Khanna's policies are worse. Participants in our group were unclear about what the party stands for, the greater good and the protection of civil rights, but many also expressed dissatisfaction with the lack of resolve this past year. During shutdown fights as well as even more broadly, even recognizing that there isn't always much Democrats can do out of power, people wanted more action and more aggression, especially if and when Democrats take power again. This is Mike from PA Thought coming true. Now, a lot of people will say to me, Mike, why don't you want to start a third party that will blah, 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 blah? I would love to. I would love to. But it's not on people's radar. Other than the most, ephemeral sense that maybe we want change and we would love a different party that didn't suck. It's not actually happening. I don't like to fantasize about something that would be cool if it happened, but has no chance of happening. Like, it would be really awesome if an asteroid or a meteorite entered the atmosphere and smashed the White House and went into, you know what I mean? Like, yay, that would be awesome to see Donald Trump, Donald Trump suddenly getting a bad batch of Oreos would be fucking awesome, right? But who cares? That doesn't matter. I don't spend my time fantasizing about something bubbling up out of the ether and rescuing me. If it happens, awesome. And if the third party truly started catching fire, I'd be there. But I'm not seeing it. That's the only thing. I am there. I'm sympathetic to the idea. I'm open to the idea, but it's not happening. So, like, I'm not going to waste my time whining about it. Bernie is going to be in studio today that Hassan is going to his rally. Hell yeah. In particular, they wanted candidates who were young, progressive, and from a more modest or working class background with clear and simple messages. As for the Democrats who are standing out to these people, Bernie Sanders is doing a rally on a billionaire tax proposal. And as for the Democrats who are standing out to these people, Jasmine Crockett, Pete Buttigieg, Zohran Mamdani, Gavin Newsom, many of them are the ones who've made a point of appearing in combative media environments, invoking a famous Michelle Obama quote. Over the past few years, those voters no longer want a party that goes high. Look at what they're trying to do. Look what the New York Times is trying to do. They're trying to push people toward Gavin Newsom. This guy's a fucking pushover. Pete Buttigieg, he's constantly slobbering over Republicans. Jasmine Crockett is a fraud. No AOC, no Bernie? Really? Interesting. Candy, Christian, Denise, Diane. Literal Diane. Jill, John, Kai, Katie, Lauren, Michael, Mike, Haneth. Fill in the blank for me. I'm feeling blank about the way things are going in the country these days. Confused about the direction the country is going. I mean, honest to God, this is the fault of the Democrats. Frustrated, upset and concerned, discouraged, strongly concerned. We got a lot of Democrats here, chat. Terrified and angry, disappointed, pessimistic, frustrated, horrified, tired, sad, and upset. Does anybody have a positive word from the moderator? No, I don't. No, absolutely not. These are tough words. Candy, let me start with you. You said frustrated. Tell me why. I know people who are immigrants. So just what's going on with immigration, and even myself being a U.S. citizen, I'm concerned about getting pulled over and shot and killed, or one of my family members is going to get discriminated against. I'm scared to leave my home. I'm already work at home, and now I feel like I have to stay here because I'm so scared. That's fucking terrible. Where are the Democrats to fight for Candy? Have any other people had an experience like Candy's? My family is all immigrants, and we're all citizens. But I worry about my parents going out. They learned English later in their lives. I've heard that ICE is near where I live. I'm wondering if I need to have them carry their passports around when they go to get groceries and things like that. I would advise them to do that. Lauren, I have family members who are immigrants. That concerns me. Even though they're citizens, they could be doing normal day-to-day things, especially with kids in tow, and they're just yanked off the street, and we wouldn't be able to intervene in any way. This is Lauren, white and from Iowa. Denise, yeah, I just feel like we're at the point right now that we're being treated like animals. I'm Puerto Rican, and I speak full Spanish. So sometimes I'm scared to go out and speak my native language. My mother, I'm afraid for her because she's older. They might just judge her by the way she looks. So I'm very, very frustrated. I mean, this is the dream for AOC, because AOC is both Latina, but also quintessentially American. Nobody looks at AOC and says that's not an American. That doesn't enter even right-wingers' minds. Even right-wingers don't look at AOC and go, not American, okay? They'll look at her and say dumb bimbo and she's hot and whatever. It gets really fucking weird when a right-winger starts talking about AOC. But they don't say not American. That's not true. They just don't. It doesn't even enter their mind. And if they do, it's very put upon and very obviously fake. I want to hear from some other folks, like, what was on your mind when you said all the words that people said? Discouraged, frustrated, terrified, etc. Jill, a white Democrat from Maryland. People who are maybe not even immigrants, but minorities and things like that are just being targeted. There's a lot in my community about ICE coming and pulling over people, and it's disheartening, actually, for anybody that lives in America. You shouldn't have to be afraid. Bro, like, honest to God, we are in a moment that I've been fighting for pretty much my entire adult life now. Everybody is seeing what I've seen, what I saw 12 years ago. And I don't feel vindicated. I don't feel like, oh, what took you so long? I want to weep from happiness. Thank fucking God. It's like being in a house that's on fire and the last person and the last pet makes it out unburned. You know, like, you are not, just because I was the first person to scream fire doesn't mean that I feel like mad at everybody. I feel relieved that people are starting to see it the way we see it. It's gratifying. I'm happy. I am not frustrated. What I'm frustrated about is people that have been leftists for a long time who have small brains and small hearts and are scared to believe because they don't want to be hurt again. Please stop being such a pathetic fucking loser. Stand up. Christian, you said discouraged. What are you discouraged about? One, a lot of the economic policies that have been put in place, looking at the job market, looking at the numbers that came out today, worst numbers in years. It feels just economically, there's no real light at the end of the tunnel. The immigration policies are also a disaster. They're inhumane. Socially, some people just embrace being blatantly racist, whether it's toward immigrants, whether it's toward African Americans. It's been normalized. Not to say it ever fully went away, but we've regressed. I could put it better myself. I think that, like, by the way, can we talk about how intelligent people are? Can we talk about how incisive these people are? How they are so clear-minded, how they are so obviously seeing the world as it is, that they're explaining themselves well. Now, I'm sure there was a lot of ums and ahs, but the New York Times was nice enough to edit those out. I wake up in the morning and I look at my phone and it's just another headline. I saw something on Facebook the other day that was from The Onion. And I had to double check it to make sure that's where it was from, because the reality that we're living in right now, it's hard to tell the difference between real life and satire, which is not a good place to be in. That's Katie, who's a white independent from North Carolina, says, I would say that I've been discouraged since 2016, Trump's first term. Nothing changed since then. It's just gotten worse and worse and worse. Now, people are being shot on the street, and it's like, well, how far is it going to go now? It's just not right. I agree with you, Mike. Mike from NC is cooking. Michael, Oregon, up until about 10 years ago, I used to think that things would be a little bit better every year over time. Now it just seems, for the most part, the government is putting into place policies that are meant to take advantage of the people who need the most help and to benefit the people who are well off. How do you get ahead when this is the situation? The answer is you get fucking owned. I feel the same way. This is from Diane. I feel sorry for the people that are going through this in their lives. I know I'm not targeted because I'm fair-skinned, and it's just not right that we're being ruled by a dictator. What did I tell you about Dianes? Dianes are there's Karens and then there are Dianes. And Dianes are the woke boomer base Diane. W Diane. Does that characterization feel true to you? Christian says yes. Denise says definitely we're going backwards. Are America's best day ahead of us, behind us, or happening now? Every single person said behind us. That is the opportunity that we have. That's the opportunity that we have. You know what happens when you turn a doomer into a bloomer? They become your most fanatical supporter. They are the people that die in the last ditch. This is the last, I've said this before, doomerism is the final stage of your liberalism. When you recognize that America is unfair, when you see the system as rigged against you, when the scales have been lifted from your eyes and you can see clearly the very last hurdle that you need to get over before you become a revolutionary or a socialist or a leftist, realizing that we have the power, not them. And that generations before us have had that realization and they have won massive concessions and progress. Now, are we in a perfected world? Far from it. but the striving is what makes life living. It's not just about the destination. It is the journey and the getting there. That is your life. You spend more time in your garden weeding and planting and clearing brush than you do looking at the finished product. Moderator Margie, once he's out of office, what's going to happen on some of the things people have been bringing up tonight? Immigration, economic policy, women's rights, gay rights. I say that it entirely depends on what party has power and who gets elected. I don't know if we're going to be living in a pendulum situation for years and years and years after this, where one party does these things and this party tries to do it, and on and on and on. My concern is that the things the Republicans are doing now, they're going to be hard to undo. Michael is right. Yes, it depends on who comes to power next, I guess. But if they don't wield it as brazenly as he's wielding it to undo some of the things that he's doing without asking the voters what we want to do or asking anybody besides just whatever he wants to do, the Democrats are too afraid to do anything, I feel like. So if they come into power, they've got to do something. Mikes, unite! Mikes, unite! How often do you feel like you're thinking about politics or thinking about Donald Trump right now? Diane, a lot. I wake up in the morning and the news always has something goofy that he invented to say today. And I think it's all to take our mind off what's going on with the Epstein files. What is this? The Mike from PA Vindication fucking committee? The Mike was right about fucking everything committee? John, if you asked me this 12 years ago, it was something no one really talked about. And now it's a daily conversation. My son's 16 and even they're just so exposed to politics now. And it's like daily, you could have 3 or 4 things that you would never even think 10, 15 years ago would happen. Radicalization is spreading. Politicization is spreading because people materially are worse off. And this is important, the next generation doesn't have a path to mobility. If the system is set up so that even intelligent and ambitious people fail, the system will be destroyed. I've dialed it back. I mean, it used to be so often that I'd look at it. I just can't continue to give that my whole being. I've got to find a way to digress. It's absorbing me and everyone around me. America. Okay. This is kind of this is liberalism triumphing. This is what doomerism is like apathy. This is what the fascists are hoping you'll say. Carol had the worst take so far, which is basically like, I'm going to put my head in the sand and I'm just going to ignore it because, you know, I feel so bad. This is this is what I don't want you to be. Katie. I try to avoid it. I mean, I don't like talking about politics. I never have. But sometimes you can't have a conversation with a person because that's all they want to talk about. Moderator, do you talk with somebody about politics at least once a day? Christian says it's all day for me now because of Instagram. Denise says every day, every day. Christian says every day, Instagram, TikTok. And I used to be pretty apolitical. I wasn't really interested as much. Then 2024 came around. I just found myself super interested. And I'm following state reps and senators and things that I never was really into as much before. It's hard to get away from. I'm not saying that presidential elections don't impact people, but a lot of times it wasn't so in your face in the way we're seeing now. Annette says, I keep up with it every day, but don't necessarily talk about it every day. For the most part, everyone in my life I know is reading the same stuff I am. There's no point preaching to the choir. Incorrect. Incorrect. I hate this saying because it's so wrong and it shows that you've never actually been into a choir. Ironically, the reason why a church is healthy when they have a choir, because that means a bunch of people are showing up and they are building something. In order to have the congregation, you need the choir. No choir, no congregation. No preacher, no preached. In order to have the thing, the institution that brings the community together, you have to have the people that are putting in the extra effort. You need to have the people that are stepping up. You need to have the people that are leading. You need those people in order to have anything of value. It's like, why are the starters practicing? How do you feel Trump's second term compares to his first? Carol says worse. The first time around was a trial run. The second time was when he really kind of dropped the boom. When he felt that power that he had the second time around. Definitely worse. I feel like he's looking for revenge. Moderator, when you imagined a potential second Trump term in 2024, is what's happening today about what you expected or different? So what are you guys feeling right now? Like, before we keep going, how do you guys answer this? I will say, I thought it was going to be bad, but I think it's actually worse. And the reason why I think it's worse is because I didn't expect the Democratic Party to collaborate as hard as they are. I thought that there would be more resistance from the likes of Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. Now, I knew they were going to collaborate a lot, But I didn't think they were going to give up all leverage all the time instantly while also like giving Trump everything. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're even like I had a low bar for the Democrats and they're even worse than I thought. I thought the establishment guys would try to ride the anti-Trump shit harder by doing at least some more performative resistance, and they've been worse. So like what Trump is doing does not shock me. What shocks me is how the Democratic Party has completely capitulated in every single way. And like, so I would say it's slightly worse than I thought. I also want to say this. I also saw the left resurgence happening as well. I thought that the progressive left would be, and this is what I've been fighting for. I wanted us to be the home of the anti-Trump fight. My only concern has been that establishment Democrats taking that inside lane and tricking people into thinking they are the anti-Trump people. It's very important that we become the face of the anti-Trump movement. If anything, the lack of establishment resistance libs has given a more people-powered movement. Exactly. It's actually benefiting us. You said this outcome was perfect. It is. I mean, I'll be honest with you. The left is the force in America that's gaining the most from the horrible Donald Trump administration. Now, it also comes with a lot of damage that I think is not necessarily worth that. But you have to go from where you are. There's nothing that you could do, right? Like, I can't make Trump not evil. All I could do is fight Trump. And I'm not going to waste brain power whining over a failure that was Kamala Harris. I'm going to say Kamala Harris failed, and this is why. And I'm going to push for what I think is the right decision going forward. Skis and Gene says, as a child of the 80s and 90s who had to listen to Rush Limbaugh in the car, I understand this was the plan the whole time. Oh, definitely. Did you see how Zoran is framing the wealth tax, putting the pressure on Hochul? Link it to me. Have you shared your thoughts on Mamdani's budget plan / threat? It's the right call. He's doing the right thing. He's putting the ball in Hochul's court, and he's saying it's Hochul's fault if the property taxes go up, which is the smart move. As much as I want to show you guys Olympics, this will get me DMCA'd because they don't like when people watch the Olympics on social media for some reason. I guess they don't want it to be popular. It's worse than I expected. I thought it would be bad, but it's going even further than I thought he would. In his first term, there were some people around him who tried to rein him in, and now he's just unhinged and off the rails, and everybody around him is pushing him in this direction. Yeah, Kai says, I don't think it would be this bad because I thought there would be checks and balances like we were always told. It's as bad as I imagined the worst case scenario. This is good because people need to understand that these checks and balances only exist to stop the left. And this is something that is a good thing. Because when they see how eagerly the checks and balances fold for Trump and how he ignored them, that will empower us to ignore them. That's what I wanted. I would say it's exactly what I imagined it was going to be like. I called out a lot of the things that are currently happening, and I keep calling out things I feel are going to happen that haven't happened. Maybe I didn't think citizens were going to get killed, but my thoughts and my feelings about what was going to happen are close enough. Christian says, this is 100% what I expected to happen, honestly. I can't say that one thing that has happened that has alarmed me. What? What? Huh? Not one thing has alarmed you? Okay, I think he means surprised. And I think that's just being a black American. Given our history of this country, we can see things. Okay, I understand what he's saying. We can see that some people just didn't see or didn't want to see. I think that's a really good point. I think it's a really good point. But you know what I like? That makes sense. You know what makes sense to me though? It's good that white people are having those realizations. One of the worst things about white liberals is the way they'll be like, black people will tell us what to do. And it's like, how about you take responsibility for yourself? Like the fact that the people that have been shot and killed in Minneapolis were both white, a white man and a white woman, is a sign that the resistance to fascism is actually growing in strength. And it creates the friction that we need, that people realize that being white isn't going to save you, which is a necessary idea if we're going to defeat the right. My 67-year-old mom voted Republican, not because she agreed, just out of habit. She always disagreed with them socially and said checks and balances would temper their power. Now she says it has shattered that belief and illuminated the reality of our political system and moved very far left, past Democrat, very fast. It killed a black lady in Georgia 2 days ago. Yeah, I know. I was just going to mention that. I'm not saying that they've only killed white people. I'm saying that the most prominent deaths by media coverage judgment, not my personal judgment, but just the way it was covered in the media, was white people being killed on fucking film. I mean, they have the privilege and majority of the treats to withstand fascism, even the privilege to join. It's no surprise white people either push back or stay moderate as fuck. What I'm saying is that even white people are being radicalized. Donald Trump is now I saw an approval rating where he was net unpopular with whites. If Donald Trump is net unpopular with whites, he's gonna absolutely lose a fucking landslide. We could pick up on little things like when he said, oh, we're going to get rid of all criminal immigrants. I mean, the first thing I said is they're not going to get rid of criminals. There's not that many criminals here. They're going to be targeting everyday people. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Democratic Party. If you had to use 1 or 2 words to describe the Democratic Party, what words would you pick? You had to pick 1 or 2 words to describe the Democratic Party. What words would you pick? Okay. Mike says spineless. Jill says more complacent than I thought they would be. That's a little bit more than 2 words, but it's okay. She tried. Paralyzed, afraid, incompetent, I guess suffocated or given up. Our local governments try to do a lot, but then in the House and Senate, they're getting voted against with the Republican majority. So sold out. I just feel we were never being governed. We're being looted. The Democratic Party lined their pockets and created this mess. I do like what Trump's doing in terms of the tariffs. They've been milking us for God knows when. What other words would people use to describe the Democrats? Sellouts and suckers. Immobilized. Can I say no balls? No cojones. This is like a mic from PA chat. Lauren says, I will say that there are a large number of young Democrats that are really starting to climb the ranks of the party that are motivated. I'm hoping that that word starts to take over a little bit more. Do you approve of the way Donald Trump is handling his job as president? Race, white. Disapprove 49. Approve 47. Donald Trump is unpopular with white people. He's fucking... That is way too fucking high. Guys, I've tried to explain this to you before. There are 2 types of white people in this country. Evangelical white people and non-evangelical white people. If you look at evangelical white people, they are in the Trump cult. They worship him like a god. You know how I can tell? Just go to Alabama. Here, I'll give you an example. Race, white, state, Alabama, 68% approve. Evangelical whites are not the same thing as whites. Like, there's white like me, and then there's Southern white or evangelical white. Like Gremlo's relatives. Yeah, that's a good example, Vio. They're in the KKK, I believe. Now, if we go to Pennsylvania, you see? Race, white, state, Pennsylvania, 49% disapprove. So Pennsylvania is interesting because it has a section of evangelical whites, but it has a lot of Catholic whites. But so it's more of balance. But the white people in Pennsylvania are different than the white people in Alabama. Now, it doesn't mean white people in Pennsylvania are therefore perfect or anything. I'm just saying that what really separates white people is whether they believe in the evangelical demonic religion or they're a boomer. Let's try another state. Let's try California. I'm curious. 66% disapprove. So in California, there's very few evangelical whites. So white people that are in California hate Donald Trump. Do you understand the difference? I think this is a very important thing for people to understand, that there's different types of white. We need to have more science about white people because there's different types of white. What's another good example? Let's try Louisiana, since we did mention Gremlo. They love Trump. They love Trump. Gambit probably loves Trump. If we're being honest, Gambit would love Trump. I'm kidding. What I'm curious is about Florida whites. I bet you Florida whites are significantly better than Alabama and Louisiana. But we'll see. Okay. They're better, but they still like Trump. That's Florida has become brain rotted to hell, huh? What's a state you guys want to check out? What white people should I check out next? New York whites? Oh, I'm sure they despise Trump. I bet you it's like better than California, honestly. We'll see. I mean, California 66 is pretty bad. That might be the best. Hold on, it's still loading. Apparently, I've searched too many things and the website has decided to break. Okay, so California whites are currently winning. It's only 55%. I mean, he is from New York. Look at Michigan whites. Okay, that's a good one. Wow, Michigan whites fucking hate him. Michigan. Michigan whites fucking hate Trump. How is Montana? Montana's an interesting one. That's a good one. Of all the plain states, Montana is the secret. It's the sleeper swing state. 54% approve, 42% disapprove. Oh, you know what's a state to check? Iowa. Iowa and Ohio is what I'm curious about. Oh! Whoa! Who's running in Iowa? Are there any Senate races in Iowa? Or are they off this year? Who's the Democrat? I think they've got a shot. Whoever the Democrat is in Iowa, I think they might win. I think this is a state that we need to bring onto the board. Because if white people in Iowa do not like Trump, the Republicans are fucking cooked. I should go bet. I wonder what line I can get. Iowa whites despising Trump. Okay, what's another one to check? Ohio, that's the other one I wanted to check. Oh, Ohio, what the fuck? What's going on with Ohio? Why are you brain rotted? What happened to Ohio? Why is Ohio brain rotted? Check Pennsylvania, we already did. They don't like Trump. I think it was like 40, it was like 52 disapprove or something. I guess Ohio has, the Southern Ohio is bad. Southern Ohio is like Trump heartland. What's another one? Oh, Indiana, that's a good one to check. I'm sorry for stopping and looking through all the whites chat, but I'm trying to find out all the different types of white. Oh no, they love Trump in Indiana. Okay, so Indiana's cooked. Wisconsin was the other one. I think Wisconsin's gonna hate Trump. Okay, 51 disapprove, which is pretty bad. Oh, North Carolina and Arizona. And then we could go back to looking at the, we'll look at North Dakota for fun. This is where Kristi Noem was from, I think, right? Or is she South Dakota? I can't remember. It's the same shit. 58% approve, 39% disapprove. That's lower than I thought that would be. Really? I guess that makes sense. That makes sense. There's less white people in North Carolina overall. But do you see the Southern evangelical thing? The reason why North Carolina is a swing state is because they have a lot of black people. You have to understand that, like, there's different types of white. This is proving my point. I bet you Georgia is terrible too. I bet you Georgia, it's like sickening. I prove you. I told you. Southern whites, man. It's Southern white. Like, people don't understand. There's different. You need to have a master's degree in Yakubology. I do. I understand the different types of white people. Okay. Georgia white people are fucking evil. Southern white people are fucking, if they're evangelical, they're fucking weird. They're evil. They're in a cult. So, like, that's crazy, dude. 60% approval of white people in Georgia. Holy shit, dude. God damn, you Georgia whites are racist. Fuck, that's crazy. Let's check Minnesota. This is be interesting. So Minnesota has the most Scandinavian, people of Scandinavian descent, I think, is Minnesota, right? They fucking despise Trump. Man, I can't believe white people in Georgia are that racist. That's fucking wild, dude. Okay, what's another? Let's do one more. You want Massachusetts? Oh, Massachusetts whites? They fucking despise Trump. 69, that's the highest we've seen. Massachusetts whites, massholes rise up. Massholes rise up. Massachusetts supremacy right now. I'll check Vermont too. That's another one to check. Arizona. That's actually really bad news for Trump because, again, there's a lot of Hispanic people. So if it's like 50-50 at Arizona, that's a disaster for the Republican. That's actually really good that's surprising for Arizona. That's actually a really good sign. The Iowa one and the Arizona one, I mean, obviously the Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Minnesota, everybody fucking hating Trump is crazy good. Oh, Texas whites? Fuck you. Are you ready for the most overrated whites in the country? You got to have good Yakubology. You got to have Yakubology. My entire political kind of like takes are, you got to understand your Yakubology. Once you understand Yakubology, you'll be able to understand if a state is winnable or not. Okay? And evangelicals are basically like, they worship Satan and racism. So the more of those you have, the harder it is to move the state. What's one more interesting white? We'll do one more interesting white. Please, it's tricknology, not Yakubology. Tricknology is the study of what whites do. Yakubology is a study of whites. Like they're like about, you know what I mean? I guess you could say it's Yakubology or tricknology. Tricknology is like what the white people do as their that's like studying their methods, right? Whereas Yakubology is studying their skulls. Oh, Vermont. Yeah, people wanted to see Vermont. Will Vermont take the spot of, oh yeah, definitely. 69% anti-Trump whites was the height. 75%! Bernard Standard. Bernard. 65 plus white Vermonters. Can we do all three? Oh, damn. All right, so the Vermont whites are leading the pack right now. Come out for the caucuses March 3rd to 7th. There are DSA candidates all over the state. We need people to show up and put folks on primaries. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. Obviously. All right. One more, and then we'll go back to the thing. This is just fun. I'm just having fun studying the whites. They're saying we need to be centrist in Maine, by the way. We got to be centrist in Maine, they say. Graham Plattner is so fucking based, and I'm not afraid to say it. The state that I think is the most overrated is probably Oregon. Oregon is probably like more friendly to Trump than you would expect. Oh, did I do too many? Am I doing too much use of your website? All right, that's a good sign. Let's get back to reading the opinion page. During the recruitment for this group, everyone identified in some way as being Democrat or Democratic, leaning toward Democrats. Tell me, what does the Democratic Party stand for? Graham Plattner, while ice fishing.
As a nation, when we go to war, we turn everything on. We say that we're all engaged in this big. Oh, that was definitely.
Yep, got it. Pull it right in.
Here we go. Hey,
that's a pick roll.
It's a pick roll. What do you know? What do you know? Hey, bud.
As I was saying before, a fish rudely interrupted. The military-industrial complex does nothing to improve the lives of working and middle-class Mainers. Quite the opposite. Ice fishing is one of those things that is hard to explain. I kind of almost think of it as like meditation. That's the best way to describe it. And then just sitting there bullshitting with your friend. It's pretty fun. Not gonna lie. Okay, where were we? All right. Tell me, did you see Tim Miller scolding Hassan? This fucking coward blocked me because I made fun of him. I said, you are Jeb Bush's communications director. Shut the fuck up. And he blocked me. Another far-right neo-Nazi does the family annihilator move, as they're known to do, and instantly the very same people they retweeted are talking about trans identity. Also, to every shameless centrist floating trans disapproval polls, you disgust me as much as the right-wing freaks do. I think if you have equal ire for centrist polling public opinion and right-wing Nazis, you're missing the mark somewhat. Actually, we're hitting the mark directly on the fucking bullseye, you fucking rat. Eat shit, you fucking loser. Fuck you. Tell me, what does the Democratic Party stand for? So I grew up in Pittsburgh, very blue-collar town. My whole family was that way. But then, even as I get old enough to make my own choices, I just identified more with the Democratic Party because I didn't feel very Republican. So literally, this woman is a Democrat because unions. And this is like the long tail of the dying unions still twitching. Michael, I grew up in a conservative household, not a liberal household. I've always felt like, more than not, that Democrats supported policies and programs that were for the greater good, that would help people move up and forward, whereas Republicans, more than not, just said, well, you're on your own. Republicans, just what really helped the rich get richer. True! Michael is true. That is correct about the Republicans, at least. Christian, for me, it's always been more about the greater good and being accepting of everyone, no matter who you are. There's a big civil rights component. One analogy I've heard is that Democrats would rather 10 kids get free lunch, let's say, even if 9 didn't need it, but that one needs it, versus the Republicans will say, oh, well, there's 9 kids who are getting free lunch. They'd rather the one person starve. You are correct. People used words like spineless, weak, scared, afraid. What are they afraid of? It seems to me that they're scared to speak up. I've heard Democrats speak up when they're interviewing these senators on television about the killings in Minnesota. I mean, they are speaking their mind. They can talk the talk, but can they walk the walk? And I'm hoping they will. The Democrats are really good at speaking when they want to act like they care. But at the end of the day, for example, when they give in to giving ICE money, they're suckers. They get suckered really easily by the Republicans. The Republicans call them a couple of words, and the Democrats believe it. Candy with another banger. Boosh, 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 boosh. Candy has just been... Every time Candy steps up to the plate, she's just the crack of the bat. It's like, she hits it. She's got that like good hip action. You know, she whips the bat around. John, I feel like the Democratic Party always tries to take the high road and do it the right way. And the other side is going so scorched earth that it takes so much more to try to do it the right way. I'm not saying go low, but I mean, at some point, you've got to meet them a little bit in the middle. You have to be a little bit more aggressive with your message. I don't know if it's that's complacency or some of these people have been in their positions for so long that they're not hungry anymore. What he's saying is, go low, baby, fight back. What have some people from the Democratic Party seen over the last year since Trump's been in office? We saw Melissa Hortman and her husband get murdered in their home, and no Republican really batted an eye compared to the response that Charlie Kirk got. They're talking about the Minnesota state senator who was assassinated by a chud. And you see, again, our own president is lying and spewing hate every day. If I were a Democrat, I would probably be pretty scared about the things that I said, too. I have a lot of respect for Jasmine Crockett and Pete Buttigieg. No! No! But they were prompted about that earlier, weren't they? Oh, God. I love them. They are really standing firm. No, they aren't. No, they fucking aren't. Democrats have folded a bit lately to move things along, unfortunately, not in the way that we would like, because they don't want to see all these people not getting paid in a shutdown and our country not moving forward. Not saying it's 100% right, but it's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't situations because they are largely out of power. This is a person who watches MSNBC, which has unfortunately rotted their brain and made them dumb. This is what happens when you trust the Democratic Party elite. This is what you sound like. She's the same age as me, and yet her politics suck shit because she trusts the Democratic Party elite, and they are not trustworthy. Has anyone been following the elections that have happened over the last year? The Democrats have flipped seats that were Republican. I know Texas just got one flipped, and there have been large margins. So what does that tell you? It tells you that Republicans are about to rig the next election because of what's happening right now. Christian! How do you square the negative feelings towards Democrats with the fact that they're winning these elections? I square it up because I feel like they're always playing catch up. So yeah, they've won some seats. But people are upset about Trump, and so they're voting for Democrats. I still don't think they're going to take the House next year. They would have never considered redistricting until the Republicans did it. Not saying that they should have, but it's like, what else are Republicans going to do first? Dead correct. Dead correct. Dead correct. 100%. And by the way, these guys' analysis is better than Tim Miller or any of the other centrist pundits we read. These regular people understand politics better. Clips of Kyle Kalinske are slowly going viral at Billy, yet you haven't registered an account there just saying, oh, I'm going to take the spot of Kyle Kalinske. Don't you fucking worry. Fuck that. You've just motivated me. The entire country has a map. Oh. You can see where the evil whites are. Hey, chat, guess where the evilest whites are? If you guessed Mississippi and Alabama, you're right. Followed by Louisiana, Georgia, Arkansas, Tennessee, South Carolina, and Oklahoma. Like, if you were to drop a nuclear bomb, would you drop it? What would you say are the Democratic Party's? They've got really good health policies. I was more of an independent, but I started leaning Democrat because of their health policies. Being a type 1 diabetic, I've always struggled to get my medications. They actually are for the greater good of the people. Some of the reasons that people are using the words they're using because the party is simply because we're not seeing much pushback. But if we could get some momentum as a party, more people would definitely benefit. So how would you respond then, Jill, to what somebody else said? They're out of power, don't have the White House, Senate, or Congress, so what are they supposed to do? It's definitely a good point. However, you don't just lie down and say, oh, well, sorry, we can't. Yes, we don't have it, but it doesn't mean they can't fight for it. And it's scary with some of the retaliation and things that are happening, but they need to stand firm. When you say you want to see Democrats stand up and fight, what does that look like? I love how this is like the way that these fucking cowardly centrists, there's plenty of ways that Democrats could fight. For example, I'll give you one. Speak up for marginalized people. Go join the protests on the street. Arrest ICE agents that violate the law. Don't give the Republicans fucking funding for ICE. Stop voting to confirm Donald Trump's judges and his appointees. Use the filibuster to block more legislation. Just getting the messaging right. You hear the Republican side, they'll spew nonsense about everything. And I'm not saying spew nonsense, but they can't get a clear, cohesive message out there. And they don't all stand together on that message. So no one knows, hey, we're fighting for you for this. They just think, hey, you're locking the whole government up because you're being stubborn. Then they lose steam and they lose their people behind them, which isn't even true. People blame Trump for locking up the government. They literally blamed Trump. This isn't even true. Oh, I fucked up my... Oh. Okay, it's fine. We're fine. They didn't just go belly up on the government shutdown. The whole blaming the Democrats thing was just a big Fox News story of let's blame the Democrats. But they had some real bargaining power there. And they just pushed the chips in and said, no, it's all right. I don't want to play this game anymore. It's like, no, if the Republicans are going to play this game, you've got to play the game and just can't sit around and not play. California is doing it the right way. They're like, okay, well, if you're going to take the seats from us, we're going to give ourselves more seats to counteract what you're doing. That's what we should be doing. Mike from North Carolina, unite! Mike supremacy. Just listen to Mike's. Just listen to Mike. Give Mike power. Mike is dialed in. Mike from NC. Has anybody seen anything from a Democrat, any candidate or public figure or someone locally that's made you say, oh yeah, we need more of this. This is what we should be doing more of. Hey, oh wow, another based answer is coming. Can you guess from who? Another based answer is coming. Can you guess from who? Zoran Mamdani. Mike from NC. Clear, concise messaging. It's exactly what everybody wants. It helps everybody. It's the perfect messaging because it's clear and concise, unlike Democrats, just like Bernie. Bernie has said the same thing since the 80s. You've got to tax the billionaires. You've got to tax the upper class. He's never changed. That's the messaging. You just got to drill into them. And Zoran did it, man. It's beautiful. Diane. Mike said it pretty clearly, and I can't really think of anything to add to that. Diane's and Mike's are going to unite and save this country. Who else? Isaiah Martin. He doesn't hold back. He just went on Jubilee, and he went against like 20 conservatives, and to me, they all got embarrassed. He's asking them questions, and then they got tongue twisted. They can't answer the question. The country is being run by people who watch Jubilee. Speaking of Mike, Micro Canada, Maple Takes on the stream. Oh, that's a good idea. I might go on his stream instead. Pete Buttigieg is a big one for me. He goes on Fox News regularly. It is pretty clear and concise about his stance on things, so I really have a lot of respect for him. Jasmine Crockett. She says she tells it like it is. She's not scared. She doesn't back down. I wouldn't be surprised if she runs for president. Oh no. Oh no. Lauren is the woman who's trapped by the DNC brain virus. She watches MSNBC or MS Now or whatever it's called. Denise is cool, but again, Jasmine Crockett, I called her out as a grifter a long time ago. She's a Zionist. She sucks. But she likes to do she likes to be insulting, which is just the sign that people want us to be harsher against the Republicans. That's the lesson we should learn. When people are saying what Mike said, do y'all mean you like Mamdani and Bernie? You like the idea of simple messaging or all of the above? The Democratic Party needs to embrace voices that resonate with people. When you hear Bernie, he has energy because he really believes in what he's saying. It's the same reason Trump resonates with people, because he acknowledges some of the struggles they're facing. Sure, he blames it on the wrong groups, but at least he voices it. The Democratic Party doesn't do the same. In 2024, people were saying the economy's fine. For a lot of people, it was. But there were also a lot of people who were seeing their prices go up and were struggling. And the stock market doing well didn't mean anything. I don't agree with everything Bernie says or everything Mamdani says, but they're similar to Trump in that if they come into office, I know they're going to do something. It might not be what you want, but you see action being taken. And the Democrats are not like that, by and large. Is there anybody else you've seen, a Democratic candidate or figure out there who excites you? I agree with everything she's doing, but Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is a well-known name, and she seems to be fighting against Trump. I had a coworker who wasn't interested in politics at all. I introduced them to Mamdani. He just went to New York City and said, I'm going to meet Mamdani. Messaging works. It's not just messaging. Messaging is the reason why they're so eager to talk about messaging is because messaging doesn't challenge power. Words are free. Actions are expensive. So the reason why everybody wants to make it about messaging is because that is easy to change. You just change words on a page. Copy, paste. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Mamdani isn't popular because of messaging. Mamdani is popular because it was about content. It was about actions. Freeze the rent. He froze the rent. Plus is fast and free. Free childcare. He's getting free childcare. He's actually doing things as well as speaking. The speaking isn't just to fill the air with noise. The speaking is about doing shit. That's what the messaging has to be about. The messaging has to meet action. That's what the Democrats are scared of. They don't want that. They want blah, 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 and then they make a lot of money and they get power to sit on their fucking ass until they get a job at a corporate board. That's the type of politician you want? Vote Pete Buttigieg. He'll blather at you and then he'll go work for the fucking most evil corporations in the world. We've seen decades of that type of Democrat. That's Pete Buttigieg. Mikey Sherrill just won governor. I'm curious to see where she takes it. Is she going to go real far off where Phil Murphy was, or is she going to stay on that track? 2 years ago, no one really saw her coming, so I'm curious about her. He's a bland nothing. Gavin Newsom and JB Pritzker. No! They're speaking up strongly against Donald Trump and the Republican Party. No, they're not. No, they're not. The Democratic Party's members don't lack conviction, but their messaging is terrible. There's a lack of consistency. They don't communicate strength. The Republicans will stick together and say, okay, well, we're in power. We're going to stick together. We're going to get stuff done. The Democrats always seem fractured and weak because the centrists make us that way. Gavin Newsom makes us that way. He's running to suck off the cock of Charlie Kirk's corpse right now. In what ways have the Democrats not used their power? What was missing that you wanted to see? I don't like the shutdowns. Oh, that was the only leverage the Democrats had when that occurred. You felt like the shutdown should have kept going. I was upset that some of them caved and we accomplished nothing. There was no gain from that. They were afraid. The Republicans came at it fiercely and started taking food assistance from people, which is deplorable. Democrats were fearful of blowback and they caved, and we accomplished nothing, got nothing out of it. Are there positions or attributes where you think this is a deal breaker for me when I'm looking at different Democratic candidates? This is the kind of Democrat I need. If there's a primary, this is the issue that would be the deal breaker for me. Every issue is important. Economics are important. Civil rights, LGBTQ rights, all of those things are very important to me. I guess because I can relate to them personally, it's tough. Aside from social issues, which I assume if we elect a Democrat that the social issues would be okay, taxing the wealthy and the billionaires. How do we fund these programs? By taxing them and getting our share of the pie and helping everybody with the massive amount of money. Taxing the billionaires is my deal breaker. Mike from North Carolina, the fucking, I would say, support of ICE. I know that some of the Democratic senators and representatives who actually voted to fund this last bill got called out. You want to try and be a little bit more moderate sometimes and not just say defund, because sometimes that doesn't go over well. The problem is that where we're at today with ICE, this is completely out of control. If you aren't willing to just speak up and say, no, I'm not supporting providing extra funding for this, there's just so much more we could be doing when we're funding it with billions. So many of this is people listening to centrist Democrats and becoming disempowered for no fucking reason. He doesn't believe in supporting ICE. He just has this like weird pundit brain virus where it's like, well, you know, if we stand up too strongly, well, then it'll be bad. And it's like, why will it be bad? Explain why it will be bad. If we do like really good things and like the world gets better, like then people will get mad at us. And it's like, no, they won't. Immigration reform, again, health, providing Medicaid, not for me, but for the sick, the elderly, and the people that need it. If they're not focused on these two issues, to me, it's a definite deal breaker. Candy, you deserve health care. Which kind of Democrat candidate would you prefer? Okay, chat. What kind of Democrat candidate would you prefer? Are you ready? A progressive candidate. Every single one. A moderate candidate. No one raised their hand. So what's the problem? The problem is that these people think Pete Buttigieg is a progressive. The problem is that these people think that Gavin Newsom is a progressive. They're not. And so these people want a progressive candidate, but they're confused about who that actually is. And that's why we have to go with AOC. Because AOC is the only progressive. They named three progressives in this. Bernie Sanders, Zohran Mamdani, and AOC. Only one of them can run for president. Look at this embarrassing tweet. Marjorie Taylor Greene just met with the mayor of Bethlehem and learned about Israel's illegal occupation. She quit. She's not in Congress. AOC appeared before NATO securocrats and appealed for their support. No, she didn't. She told them they're all hypocrites and the rules-based order never existed and it was always a farce. If you consider yourself a leftist, you're expected to resent the former and figure and adore the latter. I want you to understand, chat, that this post is grifter garbage. This is grifter garbage and it's meaningless. Now, I'm not saying he's a grifter in everything he does, but that post is grifter garbage. And the fact that it only has 1,000 likes says everything you need to say. Embarrassing. She quit rather than run for re-election. She's a fucking loser. Any politician that quits instead of fighting is a fucking loser. And I have no interest. Instead of saying, I'm going to stand up for Trump and in favor of fighting for the Epstein files release, she quit like a coward. Let's stop. Let's stop praising a loser. She's a fucking loser. Everybody said more progressive than moderate. Why? What do these words mean to me? Mean to you, excuse me. I feel like sometimes Democrats follow the law because they're believers of the system and how the system works. I'm between progressive and moderate. Republicans don't care about the law. They just do what they want done. Democrats are behind the curve on that. Me, being progressive means prioritizing equality, improving society as well, and enhancing people's rights, freedom of choice, especially for women. That's one thing I'm very passionate about. Very normal for a woman in Democratic politics to be very concerned about how their rights are being stripped. That might be why having a young Latina woman might be a good fucking candidate. With moderate, I think of people like Joe Manchin, who hold up some of the policies that I would want supported. I don't necessarily agree with all progressive policies, but by and large, I do. Progressives also actually do stuff. I feel like moderates are happy with the status quo and will basically do what we've always done. The system is working for them and they want to keep it the same. I think for a large part of Americans, the system isn't working, so we need something new. I couldn't put it better myself. Imagine having to choose between two different Democrats, a candidate who's had experience in elected office versus one who's new to politics. Do you prefer the candidate with experience or the candidate that's new? Okay, it was split, but the candidate who's new leading. This is kind of a dumb question, to be honest with you. Things that we've been doing, you're already behind the 8 ball. You need someone to come in and be like, all right, we're going to do this. They don't have the experience to say, hey, we can't do this because X, Y, and Z. They need to have not learned bad habits. We already had experience with electing a president who didn't have any experience, so I don't want to repeat that whole thing over again. Who's that? Are you talking about Trump? Or are you talking about Obama? We may need a fresh face and somebody who has not been corrupted by our government, somebody starting new. Right, we got a president with no experience, and look what's going on. But it's nice to have someone with fresh ideas. I also think it's important. So this question literally doesn't matter. This is a dumb fucking question. It's wasted. No one cares. Think of an older Democrat candidate and think of a Democrat candidate on the younger side. You go with the older candidate or the younger candidate? I'm more comfortable with someone with a little more mature than someone who's brand new. What's the point where we're going to be someone younger, right? I want to see the younger to older millennials. You're not seeing as many of them as there should be. There's people that have held Congress for years. And they're just there. I feel like sometimes they're just take up space, and it's nice to have new ideas, a younger face, because we have a lot of young voters and we want them to be able to relate. If they see all older people there, they're not going to be excited about what they have to say. We want young faces, definitely. I mean, I heard a lot of people in this group say that they're excited about Bernie Sanders, by the way. How do you square that? I like Bernie, but that doesn't mean I want another president of his age. Consider 2 Democratic candidates, one who's from the middle class, working class, or a modest background, and one who's not. The middle class candidate, or it doesn't matter. Hey, look, that's AOC again. It's like they're describing AOC because, by the way, she has political experience. She's been in office for 8 years, but she's also young and she comes from a modest background. Well, what do you know about, and she's a progressive. It's almost like AOC is the perfect candidate for 2028 and anybody doubting it is fucking stupid. And for some reason, it's self-cucking. Stop self-cucking. It doesn't matter to me. The person's policies, their platform, and their messaging is the most important thing. Unironically, Michael's right. Unironically, Michael's right. I don't care what you are as long as your policies are good. Okay? Like, if your policies are good, then I want you to be there. If your policies are dog shit, then I don't care if you're working class. I was really disappointed at Crystal Ball for writing her off. I would love to debate Crystal Ball on AOC versus Ro Khanna. It would be a fucking bloodbath. It would be a fucking bloodbath. And an open fucking invitation for anybody with a platform. Ro Khanna versus AOC. I'll fucking destroy you. It's nice when someone is more working class. Okay, this question kind of sucks. Imagine candidates who present as a traditional business professional look versus those who are more casual. Maybe they curse or have tattoos. Do you prefer the more traditional politician or someone with a more casual presentation? What, are you asking if they want to vote for what's her face? The fucking loser? Marie Concentration Camp Perez? Is that what they're trying to float? Or is it Fetterman who can't brain rot? I don't care about this answer. If you give Democrats some advice either about running for office or being in office right now, what would you tell them? Think long term with their strategy because it's clear they haven't been. You're always playing catch up. The Republicans played a long game. Donald Trump has never stopped running. He's either been president or been running for president for the last 10 years. The architects of Project 2025 have been working on this for years. They've been playing the long game, and they're willing to play dirty. When Michelle Obama said, when we go low, we go high, that's not working now. You can't do that anymore. Christian with the anti-Obama messaging. If you can read this fucking group chat, if you could read this fucking, this focus group and not feel like it's obvious that AOC should be the nominee, I think you might be lost. Stand up, don't back down, don't be scared. Yeah, going high when they go low, it's just not working anymore. We've got to meet them somewhere. They just need to help us. Do something. We elected you. Just do something for us, please. Stay firm with conviction, just how Jasmine Crockett is demonstrating. Pick a message, and then you have everyone stick to that message. You hear the same thing all the time for the Republicans. Democrats, you hear 3 or 4 different views at the same time because the establishment billionaires are fucking funding unpopular centrist infighting. You know what the chorus money is going for? Attacking me. Attacking Hassan. That's what they're doing with the chorus money. Like, do you understand how fucking useless that shit is? Guys, did you know Mike is cringe? Guys, did you know Mike is an anti-Semite? Guys, did you know Hassan is a terrorist supporter? Did you know Hassan is a racist? Guys, did you know that Hassan is saying vote third party? That's what they write. That's what they do with the chorus money. Literally. Tucker Carlson now visiting Israel. What a fucking bitch-made fucking loser. What a fucking bitch-made fucking loser. What a fucking cuck. Be bold. Communicate the message strongly. Don't be afraid to accomplish big things. Thank you, Michael. Listen to the people when it comes to healthcare and Social Security. Listen to the people, of course. Time to dig in and fight dirty. I hate to say that because I don't want my party to go that way, but I also think it's time to stand up. yes! Fight dirty, baby! Don't go on a tangent over here when the message that you want is completely other direction. Try to be relatable as much as you can be without going on the other tangent. Oh, God, I hate when people do their stupid fucking pundit consultant brain takes. Who gives a shit about your stupid consultant brain take? Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck. You're not a media trainer. Just shut up. God damn it. I hate this so fucking much. Run candidates that make your wealthy donors nervous. Use your voice. Use your power. Keep trying to represent us. Just because we have a lower hand doesn't mean you can't go out there and show up for us. The more Democrats speak out, it'll show the Republicans that we have a spine. We do have a backbone. We can. I am so... thank you to the New York Times for publishing this because it's a huge L for the fucking right-wing Democrat. The average Dem voter wants them to cut Republicans' heads off and wants to vote for a left-wing, young left-wing person who promises big things. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Picture of Tucker in Israel. Anna Kasparian is a this is the perfect time to pivot to hating on TYT. Anna Kasparian is a fucking cuck. Thank God the majority report. Okay, guys. Okay, thank you. I got the Zoran framing. I got it. Cool. I'm not talking about that right now.
To be honest,
Anna Kasparian is a fucking grifter. What a fucking loser. What an absolute fucking loser Anna is. What a completed total douchebag. The stuff I'm concerned about with AOC are old tweets like this. Can I just say this is fucking stupid? Like, this is what you're saying? She said people should be allowed to protest. That's your point, that you're going to try to be like, I hate AOC? Now, obviously, those protests were not that, they were definitely pushed by the U.S., intelligence. And I think that tweet is dumb. But you're going to try to be like, oh, I hate AOC because she said people have the right to protest. What? Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Inhumans of capitalism is annoying. They're an agoraphobe. They're an agoraphobe shut-in. I know exactly what this type of person is. They're an agoraphobe shut-in. They don't do anything. They just sit there and they schizo post 24/7. Like, it's without a doubt standard anarchist influencer. All right, before I get off on a rant about that type of person, total fucking weenie. What's more important is making fun of Anna Kasparian. Mike, how should leftists in the South prepare for the inevitable fascist whiplash when they lose ground against the left? I'm genuinely considering moving in the near future, but don't want to move somewhere that won't mandate worker disarmament while agents of fascism remain armed to the teeth. Oh, you could just move to like Pennsylvania then. Move to the ideal place to move would be something like Pennsylvania, where there's more guns than you could count. The cities are great. Philadelphia and Pittsburgh are awesome, and they're very affordable. And you get some of the best politicians in the entire country are also Pennsylvanian as well. So, and your vote matters. I mean, that's all I'm saying. Like, if you're asking me, what is the best city to move to if I want to be involved in left-wing politics, be able to own a gun, and be able to afford to live? The answer is Pittsburgh or Philly. Honestly, or Philly. Philly is really awesome because it's extremely close to, like, Philly and New York are very close. Very convenient to travel from Philly to New York. Very convenient to travel from Philly. The whole East Coast the megalopolis, Jesus. The whole East Coast megalopolis is awesome. Archipelago. That whole area is actually pretty great. I'm a Northeast supremacist. It's true. I'm caught. I'd rather live in any of the Northeast cities than any other cities in this country. I'm sorry. I'm caught. Although I do like the West Coast as well. The West Coast is nice. There's nothing wrong with the West Coast. It's just a little bit too car focused for me. Like in the Northeast, those cities developed before cars, so they have some remnants of like a pre-car world. Whereas the West Coast is like cars. We need more lanes.
At this point, this is kind of fun for me, making fun of Anna. I saw this clip. I couldn't believe we could just play the first part because there's a statement that she makes here about Tucker Carlson.
The majority report is mixed to be so fucking loud. Am I crazy? Or do they push the volume on this shit? Is that like a strat for like viewership? Because goddamn, this might be the loudest mix of the entire website.
That was just genuinely shocking to me in its ignorance. If you talk about Israel-Palestine in any meaningful way.
She's the same level. I turned her down to 40%. I turned it down to 40% volume.
I don't understand how you could make this statement, but credit to, you know, our buddy Jennifer Welch, Jennifer and Angie over at I've Had It. They're doing really great work. That conversation with Hassan was phenomenal, and I loved how Jennifer...
You think the Majority Report strategizes for more viewership? Yes, of course they do. I like the Majority Report. I'm a Majority Report supporter, even though I'm more left-wing than everybody on the Majority Report. I still like the Majority Report. Like, it shows you how normal I am. I'm allowed to... I watch someone who I am to the left of, but because their politics are... Although, to be fair to Matt, I'd say Matt's pretty close to me. I think Matt is moving in my direction as well. I think he's kind of becoming a little bit more authoritarian. I've always been, you know, I embrace the authoritarian label because I think it's funny. But the best way to describe it is I am far left. And what makes me far left is that I think that we should use the state against the right. It's not just that I think we should have policies that are about increasing working class power. I think we should actively use the state to suppress the right. I think we should persecute the right with the state. That's what makes me far left. Okay, like, now left-wing people are like, you know, they just want to do nice things, and I agree with all the nice things. But I also think, like, for example, I'll give you an example of what I want to do. The evangelical Christian televangelist scam religion should be taxed. And all of the big scam televangelist religion where they take all the money from the grandmas on you know, and they tell them they won't go to heaven unless they give them all their money, they should be in prison. I feel like all the right-wing, like, networks, whether it's News Corp or what's that corporation that owns all the local news? Sinclair Media. All that should be broken up, and we should seize their assets. I think that we should nationalize every American oil and gas company and have it be consolidated into an American oil and gas conglomerate that's owned by the government. I think we should nationalize every electrical grid and every water system. There should be a nationalization of every electrical grid and every water system in America. And it should be illegal to privatize these things. And it's very important. We should also ban every lobbying organization. Like, that's not a member of that's not a union. All non-union PACs should be banned and all their wealth expropriated. This is the type of stuff that I'm talking about. Okay, like, this is not that big of a... Also, it's not even that harsh. Police unions should be abolished. And we should have massive police reform where we have a national apolitical... We need to have an intensive depoliticization of the police. And we need to suppress any political organization for any armed member of the state. You should not allowed to be in a union if you are given a gun by the government. You should not allowed to be able to articulate your interests in opposition to the rest of us. When you are given a gun, you lose that. The moment you're told, oh, you get to use violence against your fellow citizens, you have to be held to a higher standard, not a lower standard. Right now, American police have the lowest standards of any developed country, and that has to change. So I would like to see all police unions abolished. Oh, I'd also want to abolish the FBI and CIA and the Homeland Security Department. They're all so corrupt and they're all so criminal that they can't exist.
Talked about how she's changed her perspective and she's more open-minded. She was very much about, you know, vote blue no matter who is how she would categorize it. And while she still would probably act that way herself, she hears what Hassan has to say about, I'm not going to vote for Gavin Newsom, and sees how that's representative of so many other people's opinions and is like, I'm not going to bludgeon these people for feeling this way.
That was a rational conversation between parts of the Democratic Party that need to talk to each other, and everyone trying to short circuit it is the problem themselves.
Exactly. So she's just showing an open-mindedness that I think is commendable, and the members of the Democratic Party should be engaging in it. And I guess they had this conversation with Anna on. They had her on. You know, she's not a Democrat or a leftist anymore. She's independent, on the lines, in the center.
So impressive.
Or something. You know, a bespoke political ideology, if you will.
A pure individual.
We're all snowflakes, right? And no snowflake is the same. And apparently that's the same for political influencers and how they choose to brand themselves when launching Substacks. So this is an astonishing clip. Here is Jennifer Welch asking her about her collaborations with Tucker Carlson.
Which I want to talk to you next. My next curiosity about you is I see you collab with Tucker Carlson a lot. And so I want you to tell me about that, because Tucker to me is a very dangerous person because he speaks to a lot of people in middle America that have extreme homophobia, extreme transphobia. And I have so many gay friends in Oklahoma that are bullied by their churches, their families, their governments. And he recently was saying like FAGGOT multiple times. And he is clear-eyed on Israel, but I feel like that his position on Israel is also wrapped in, this is my opinion, in some anti-Semitism the same way his homophobia is. And I wanted to get your take on that.
I don't think he's anti-Semitic. I don't at all, actually. In fact, he has even in the past like supported Zionism. But I think once he realizes how detrimental
that was really, we're going to let it go, but that was the money quote for me. When I saw that, I didn't watch this whole thing. I watched the clip of this, and that was the first thing I heard.
How are you involved in politics? Friends of Michael Brooks, friends with Hassan Piker, and you become this much of a failed grifter. I feel like, how is everybody so stupid about Hassan? I mean, maybe I'm crazy. I was the first person to look at Hassan and go, wow, this guy's really cool, and he's got a great community, and I could help build my audience by supporting somebody who's cool and nice and my friend and who's successful. How am I the only person who looks at Hassan and goes, wow, we're so lucky? Why is everyone else such a fucking grifter? And I can literally show you other than like a very small number of people, I could show you literally all these left-wing influencers who now kiss Hassan's ass. I could show you clips of them trashing Hassan. It's fucking crazy how the Hassan derangement syndrome is a mental illness. By the way, chat, what I love about Hutch is like, he is the average Destiny viewer in that he's low IQ. And I know that sometimes people get uncomfortable with me saying low IQ, and I get it. Like when we're talking about groups of populations and the misinformation around IQ and the way that IQ has been massively overblown as some, sign of general intelligence, and that it's leave aside all the lefty objections to what I'm saying about IQ. Okay. You're right. All those objections are correct, by the way. But when we're talking about Hutch as an individual, like his cognitive ability, it is low. And there is a way, like you could say that there are differences in cognitive ability, and he's got less cognitive ability. And the other thing is, having low cognitive ability in and of itself doesn't mean that you're worth less as a person. By the way, I know plenty of people that are not super intelligent, but I consider them to be incredibly wise, incredibly thoughtful, incredibly hardworking, and incredibly skilled. They may not pick things up very quick. It may take them extra effort to learn something. They are, honestly, I consider them to be more useful than a so-called smart person, 99 times out of 100. And I think in America, we undervalue people that are wise and skilled. And we look for this kind of like flashy confidence and this quick-wittedness, and we overvalue that. Hutch happens to be someone who is both not quick-witted, not intelligent, but also morally depraved, compromised, corrupt, and lazy. So he manages to combine all the elements of a subhuman, basically, like somebody who is just not someone you want to value in any way. Unintelligent, lazy, stupid, foolish, easily tricked, resentful, envious, jealous, wrathful. Like when you combine all of those things, and most importantly, bald. Holy fuck, is he bald? But he's not bald in like the cool, sexy Northern Line way. He's bald in the like, ew. He's still got some peach fuzz or some sort. Like he's got just enough hair at the top of his head that it looks like he dipped his head in dog shit. See what I mean? Like, look at that. He's not it's not clean. You can kind of see his head looks a little unwashed. There's a little bit of like crusty skin and oil. Ooh, he's not just bald, it's gross. So anyway, let's take a listen to Hutch.
No, it shows you think Hassan is worse than Jeffrey Epstein. That's what it shows you, Hutch.
Brought Jeffrey
That's what it
Epstein
shows
into
you.
this? What is Jeffrey Epstein?
You did when you said I would vote for Epstein over fucking JD Vance.
Tell me, what is Jeffrey Epstein's policy platform?
Dude, you don't need.
That's a fair question, isn't it? Isn't that relevant to the analysis? I don't know anything about Jeffrey Epstein's politics. Would he push for a public option? Is he a Medicare for all kind of person? I don't know anything about his politics. The reason why I would not necessarily disqualify Jeffrey Epstein electorally is because first we would have to establish if he supports liberal democracy. Because the whole thing with Hassan is that he doesn't. And I had people in my own chat last night that thought I was being ridiculous. Why am I being ridiculous when we're talking about Hassan Piker?
Okay, so the fact that you asked this question shows that you are so when I said he was subhuman, this is what I'm talking, okay? I think an everyday average person would understand that this is a country of 350 million people and that we should never, ever, ever empower someone who is a pedophile, who is a sex trafficker, who is a spy for a foreign government. That's the other important point. He's compromised, right? Like he takes money from Israel for the benefit of Israel. Now, if you're going to elect someone to be president, you want them to have loyalty to this country, not a foreign country. So before we even get into like policy positions, he doesn't believe in liberal democracy because he's going to override the will of and the interest of the American people for a foreign state. So both personally is he abhorrent, and it would represent true nihilism to elect a pedophile. We would basically be saying a pedophile is somebody who represents our values. If somebody is a pedophile, that means that they are willing to harm an innocent and torture an innocent for their own pleasure. You want to give that person more power? You know he's going to do? He's going to make sure that pedophiles can get away with molesting more kids implicitly. He will be undermining the rule of law against pedophilia because he's vulnerable to it, because he's a criminal sex trafficker, you fucking idiot. That's why we don't want to vote for criminals. That's why we don't want to vote for the corrupt, because they will sell or use their power in corrupt ways, you dumb fuck. The second thing is, and this is the more important thing, look at who Hassan Piker supports. Does Hassan Piker support immediate revolution now? We're going to detonate the bridges and start executing people on the street? No. Hassan Piker supports Zohran Mamdani, the most competent and successful politician of the last year. He's about to hang out with Bernie Sanders. He's about to hang out. He just hangs out with AOC on a regular basis. When you look at the politicians that Hassan Piker supports, they are overwhelmingly the most effective and the most visionary and the most competent of any of the politicians that are on offer. You are a dumb subhuman and you're stupid and you have debate pervert brain where it's like, I'm going to do a cost benefit analysis where if Jeffrey Epstein supports the public option, the public option is, and also this is why Hutch is subhuman, because he's stupid. The public option is not a real policy. The public option is specifically set up to not work. There is only two ways a public option could work. It would be a weak public option, in which case the coverage would be so low and the premium so high that it would uncompete with the market, meaning nobody would want it because it sucks. So you would go buy. So that would be a weak public option. It would basically have no effect. If you had a strong public option, meaning the premiums were lower or competitive to private insurance, or the coverage was better for the money, then it would outcompete all the fucking private insurance companies, and it would cause them to enter financial distress. You cannot have a public option. It's either superior, in which case it will slowly undermine the private health insurance market and cause a cascading series of failures, which will imperil people's care because it will not be set up to absorb the collapsing industry, or it'll be so weak that it's irrelevant. So the public option is not a real policy. You either support Medicare for all or you don't. Also, he's claiming we don't know Epstein's politics. He's whining and dining and raping with all the current elites in this country going back three decades. His number one bro, Ehud Barak. Exactly. He's hanging out with all the centrists. He's hanging out with the Clintons. He's hanging out with Trump. He's hanging, like, we know his politics. It's pro-Israel Zionism and status quo centrist Democrats. That's his fucking that's his politics. That's his politics. It's the politics of Hillary Clinton.
Hiker. Do you trust that he would not nuke Israel? Do you trust that he would not help China invade Taiwan? I'm crazy for being worried about our fucking nation's secrets. If we gave power to
what nation, what secrets? Be specific. Also, let's assume the worst happens. China takes over Taiwan. And then
Hassan Piker? I'm the crazy one who's like, I don't know, what's Jeffrey Epstein's policy position when he glorifies the current Chinese Communist Party as like a model of government? I'm the crazy one? Somebody who idolizes Vladimir Lenin, and I'm the fucking crazy.
Vladimir, I know for a fact that Hutch knows literally nothing about Lenin. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing about Lenin. Lenin was one of the world's greatest liberators. Maybe you could have a problem with Stalin, okay? But if you have a problem with Lenin, what are you, a monarchist who supports gulags for the monarchy? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You support sending millions of people to their deaths in World War I, a pointless war between an empire. By the way, it was the Russian Empire, and they subjugated Ukraine. Your precious Ukraine was subjugated by Russia. Jesus Christ. Absolute moron. Okay, sorry, chat. He's such a nobody. He knows nothing. Jesus fucking Christ.
Come out of her mouth. Tucker Carlson is not anti-Semitic, she claims, because he previously supported Zionism. How do you work for longer than myself in the political discourse, debate, analysis space, and you're not a far-right person and have that sort of opinion and understanding about Zionism?
Yeah.
Zionists are some of the biggest anti-Semites in the entire country. The Republican Party, the Christian Zionists that populate the Republican Party, Kufi, their entire ideology, and I believe that they've talked about this on their program before, is based on the idea that Jews need to return to the birthplace of Christ so that he can return, and a majority of them are going to get burned up and die, and then the third or so that accept Christ as their savior get to sit on the right hand of God, and we will they get to survive. The right-wing Christian evangelical Zionist movement in this country is predicated on a worldview that results in many Jews dying in their fantasy of the situation, let alone Tucker Carlson's trafficking and things like the Great Replacement theory, which he still to this day engages in. The notion that there's this demographic replacement that's being puppeteered by, these globalists, they'll say, but what that means is Jews. The immigration policy right now is being led by people who genuinely believe that. They believe a majority of the Great Replacement theory. They may not say that first part. They'll talk about how Latinos and brown people are replacing us and that Democrats want to import them in so that they can have a stronger voter base or what have you. They may leave out that first part, but that is where that originated. And Tucker Carlson was a major purveyor of that.
I mean, he was a vacationer in Israel for a long time. He's like, oh, wait a second, people have a problem with this country? Because, yeah, Israel got it massively unpopular. But he was absolutely there to support them and to, more importantly, reinforce the Islamophobic narratives that are basically foundational to Zionism worldwide. The anti-Muslim, they're monkeys, whatever he said about Iraq. He's been there. And this sort of idea that, now you got to give people space to change their mind. His dad was part of fucking Air America, the CIA's, or was it not Air America, the
I forget what it's called. I'm sorry.
You know what it is? The sort of State Department's
carve out, yeah.
For Radio Free America. Like the idea that he didn't know what he was doing or what Israel's been doing this whole time is ludicrous. It's infantile, but it's something that people need to say in order to get onto his show. And the sort of softball interview he gave Fuentes, to me, is cut and dry. He is just an opportunist. And actually, sorry to get a little bit upset. like Anna Kasparian is on this issue. I like anybody going on Piers Morgan say, you know, don't be Zionist and hate Palestinians. Anna talking about her pivot is because of what the Democrats' policy on Israel is a bit rich, because it was actually about the Democrats' policy on trans people and immigration. And that's just harder to say now because it's actually pretty disgusting that was what she built her pivot on. So it's much safer for her to say, actually, my problem with the Democrats is they supported genocide because, yeah, we all have that problem with them. Guess what? Trump is not a big change in any direction on that. In fact, he's doing the same thing to Cuba right now.
Richard Spencer, who is quite literally a white supremacist himself and a anti-Semite, don't think that's controversial to say, has described himself as a Zionist before and spoken about how white nationalism is analogous to Zionism. You could say I'm a white Zionist in the sense that I care about my people. I want to have a secure homeland for us and ourselves, just like you want a secure homeland in Israel. He and other Nazis and white supremacists have repeatedly praised the state of Israel because of its ethno-nationalist character. Additionally, white supremacists and neo-Nazis and anti-Semites in this country like the state of Israel because they believe that Jews shouldn't even be here and that they should be in Israel. This statement that Tucker Carlson can't be anti-Semitic because he has previously supported Zionism is one of the most ignorant statements I have ever heard from somebody who I once considered to be fairly intelligent. Or at the very least, her media diet has caused her to completely lose touch with basic understandings of politics. I mean, we can go for a little bit longer if
I'll
you
just
want,
say real quick, the issue with Zionism, it has nothing to do with Judaism. The Israel with Zionism is that it's an exclusive nationalism.
Yeah.
And so, in fact, a lot of the original supporters, the founding fathers of Zionism, I forget which one, but thought that, for instance, Dreyfus was guilty during the Dreyfus affair. Like
Lord Balfour was anti-Semitic in and of himself. I mean, he did not want Jews to change the character of Britain.
Yeah, exactly.
That is why there was a marriage between white colonizers and the Zionist movement, was because of anti-Semitism from its very outset.
Yep. And so the white nationalists like Tucker Carlson, don't people think it's a little bit suspicious how they have the exact same sort of paranoia about Muslims that the Zionists have? It's not a little bit suspicious?
Yes, and
there's by the way, there's a material analysis for this because Muslims and Muslim culture and Arab, pan-Arab nationalism represents a possible emerging counterbalance to Western power. If there was like an Arab Union that grew in wealth and power, it would upstage the European Union. So they have to keep the Arab populations subjugated and exploited in order to maintain their supremacy. That's why all these Arab states with oil are ruled by fucking corrupt dictatorships. That's why there's this, fear of Muslims, because there have been Muslim empires that challenged Europe before, like the Ottoman Empire. It was a significant challenge to Western hegemony. And it wasn't until the industrial era that the Ottoman Empire was superseded into no longer being a threat. So they understand that. It's very material. It's very straightforward. It's about maintaining European and American hegemony. What do I mean by pan-Arab nationalism? The idea that all Arab people should be unified into one state or one super state. Because the states that we have in the Middle East were all drawn by the UK and France. They created all these countries in the Middle East. They, instead of like an Arabia that unifies all Arab speakers, they made a bunch of small little fragmented states for the purpose of imperial domination.
She later on will address that. She addresses the fact that Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene have apparently change their opinions, or at least Tucker Carlson, on Muslim people in general. But listen to the conversation that we're even having here. It's so factionalized. There's no path for liberation for the people of Palestine, truly, with this kind of vision that is so factionalized and based on different religions versus the other.
I mean, Tucker's engagement, it's like, oh, look at these Christians that got victimized.
Yeah.
That's how he has to lead into it, because he knows he's conditioned his audience to distrust Muslims.
Exactly. Let's just play a little bit more of this and get more context. Maybe it'll help.
I don't think he's anti-Semitic. I don't at all, actually. In fact, he has even in the past like supported Zionism. But I think once he realizes how detrimental the U.S. alliance with Israel really is, he's kind of moved off of supporting Israel in the same way that he has in the past. I really don't think he's anti-Semitic. I think you raise a valid point about his views on, gay people. I definitely do agree with you on that. And I disagree with him. I have a completely different view when it comes to gay people, gay rights, gay marriage, and all of that. But in regard to the anti-Semitic question, I don't think he's anti-Semitic at all. In fact, he's pretty well read on the issues that hurt us due to our relationship with an alliance with Israel. And he articulates that regularly. And by the way, I mean, he had asked me to go on his show, his podcast, a year and a half in advance of me finally agreeing to do it. And part of the reason why I wouldn't do it initially is because I just thought there's no redeeming quality about this guy. There's no use in having a conversation with him. But his producers were so...
By the way, chat.
He went to Israel right as she's speaking. He's going to Israel. He's in Israel right now. He got grifted. He got told to go to Israel by Trump, and now he's there.
Persistent that I finally decided, okay, fine, I'll listen to his podcast. I'll make an informed decision and see if there's maybe a possibility that I'll do this interview. And I do think
Anna Kasparian is doing the Dave Rubin. The Dave Rubin pivot is basically traveling to the right by selling to the right the idea that she's a left winger. And the left wing is just so wild and crazy and unreasonable that she was forced to become a right winger. And there's nothing, you have to understand something deeply about the psychology of the right. When you look at somebody like Asmongold, all he wants is for everyone to love and accept him. And what he wants more than anything is for all of us to say he's so smart and so correct and he's a good guy and everyone who disliked him is a bad person. Okay? That's what they want. And so former left-wing grifters can go and sell that to the right-wingers by going, you guys weren't racist. You guys were the reasonable ones the whole time. That's the grift. That's the grift that she's now pivoting to. Because guess what, chat? We live in polarized times. There is no space. There is absolutely no space between the left and the right. Either you are in this fucking mass deportation, racist, grift, crypto grift, ripping the copper out of the walls. There's not one policy Donald Trump is pursuing that makes sense, objectively and rationally. Not one. Every single policy he has is objectively a grift or damaging. So if you look at Donald Trump and go, I don't know, I kind of like Donald Trump, you're lying. You're a total fucking moron. And that's why you see the approval ratings dip, because as more and more people become aware of what Donald Trump's doing, either you're in that cult or you hate his guts. So trying to float out in the middle here when there's no more ground to stand on is a sign that you're grifting. And who are you grifting to? The people you're leaving? Excuse me. Who creates more right-wing grifters, Canada or the Young Turks? Yeah. I mean, if you're going by ratio, it's Young Turks. If you're going by ratio, like percentage of people that appeared on the show that later became right-wing grifters, and I'm talking about like main commentators, not just like guests. Like if you look at all the people that had a job as a daily commentator at TYT, the number of them that became right-wing grifters is incredibly high. And the answer is it's easy to understand why, because they're not left-wingers. They're liberals. And if you're fundamentally a liberal and you are interested in playing the politics game, and you see elections as the ultimate sign of what's right and wrong, the Republicans are going to win you over because there's a lot more money over there and they win more because the Democrats are controlled opposition. Being a principled left winger and breaking through the establishment stranglehold on politics is much harder. The right wing is desperate for any amount of grassroots engagement. They're going, like, the difference between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party can be explained by their attitude toward grassroots movements. The moment there's a right-wing grassroots movement that seems like it might be gaining steam, they're pouring hundreds of millions of dollars to boost that shit. The moment there's anything that's on the right that seems like it has a little bit of juice among regular people, fire hose of money poured on that shit. And it doesn't matter what it is. If there's any grassroots movement that's on the left, Barack Obama is calling every single prominent person and telling them to cool it. Barack Obama called Zohran Mamdani and had an hour conversation and then didn't endorse him. When washed LeBron was organizing the NBA to join with Black Lives Matter protests, Barack Obama called LeBron and told him to stand down. When Bernie Sanders was surging in the primary off of grassroots support, Barack Obama called every other candidate and hatched a plan to have them endorse Joe Biden to save the party from Bernie Sanders at the last minute. That's how the Democratic Party operates. The moment there's any kind of left-wing juice, look at Minnesota. The moment these people were standing up, grassroots is standing up to Trump and ICE, the Democratic Party was rushing to shut those people down. That's the difference between the parties. And so if you are just interested in making money, if you're just interested in grifting, then you go to the right. And there's a reason why I'm going to continue to be correct and I will never become a right-wing grifter, because I actually understand politics. And so I know I can look at something and I can tell you where it comes from. I can analyze it. I have theories of power. I have dialectical materialism. I have other theories of history that I could apply. I understand the differences between legal realism and other forms of legal formalism. And I understand what liberals think. I understand what conservatives think. I've read it. I understand it. I can process it. I know my history. I know how movements are formatted. I understand how the structures of power operate, who they're connected to, and how to trace those lines and understand what biases there are. I get it. So I'm never going to become a right winger because I understand what I'm fucking talking about. And I can tell in its essence if a movement is right wing or not, if it's grassroots or if it's astroturfed. Anna is not very intelligent. I don't know what else to say. And so she's being led by her emotions and ego. So her emotions and her ego and her self-interest are going to pull her to the right. And that's where she's going to end up.
He gets taken out of context a lot. He's definitely deeply conservative. Obviously we're going to have to...
you know, and very focused on, as if this matters, the booking process of getting her on Tucker Carlson.
I've actually heard things about that. Years and years ago, I mean, pre-COVID.
It's interesting.
I heard it's interesting who gets the invite and who doesn't. Because I've heard things about Tucker Carlson where he'll invite people who write for leftist publications and pick their brains about certain things like criticizing the Clintons or whatever. And I've heard that those people have said, hey, you know, I'll come on to Fox News when you're still on there to talk all of this stuff. And then all of a sudden the trail goes cold because he just didn't really want to platform them. So it's just interesting who Tucker wants to platform versus who he doesn't.
Also, the whole response there was just about gay people and did not address one thing that Jennifer mentioned about trans people.
He's so well read now. When did he get well read about Israel-Palestine?
It's also like, I mean, some of the most evil people on the planet are well read. Oh, good. I mean, Henry Kissinger was a brilliant guy. Okay, great. Absolves him of everything.
But,
I mean, it's very, very bizarre.
Why is he, how much older than me is Tucker Carlson? Like, why is this stuff just, he's not a baby boy. He's been in news for decades and decades and decades.
Yeah.
Like in the 90s.
Right.
This guy was writing for publications. But now he's well read about Israel-Palestine. He could have shown it a little bit fucking earlier.
You know, it's fun for me to kind of mock this. It's just a bit of layups for us at this point. It's not that hard. But I mean, in reality, I guess it's a bit of covering this helps us kind of reframe how we should probably look, I think, at Israel-Palestine as like when we're looking at the discourse and the momentum towards Palestinian liberation, what kinds of allies are going to be sincere in that fight? And it's not going to be a Tucker Carlson, who I think it's helpful right now what he's doing. I welcome that he goes and speaks he went to that orphanage, right? Again, it's this overfocus on Christianity because he's talking about the factions. He's stoking factions between religious groups.
He's stoking religious strife and obscuring the nationalism of it. But sure, he's against Israel, so fine.
And fomenting anti-Semitism by doing that, as we claim he's not anti-Semitic, where, you know, what a true egalitarian vision is talking about Israel as a secular humanist state that is not maintained by force and domination and on the basis of ethnic or religious supremacy. And it's quite easy, I think, at this point, given where public polling is, speaking about the genocide and talking about the moral outrage of it and going on cable news and advocating for that. I think that's a good thing to do when we're talking about like what the next step is for building a political constituency that can change things. Deciding if Jews or Muslims are worse is not really the kind of discourse that I think is quite helpful in that regard.
No, I would say it's probably exactly the wrong sort of discourse. But I have Francesca Albanese on. It's just like when you're emphasizing again the religious elements of these issue and not the nationalism, which is foundational to it, you're doing the work of the Zionists still.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button.
Well, of course they're doing the work of the Zionists. The right-wing anti-Zionism is just it's a honey trap to catch people. And it's total farce. They don't believe in anti-Zionism. Not one of the anti-Semitic right-wingers who claim to be anti-Zionists are actually that anti-Zionist. They look at, and if you ask Nick Fuentes or whatever the fuck, he's an anti-Semite, not an anti-Zionist. He likes Zionism. He just wants America to do Zionism in America, our version of it, which is set an in-group, set an out-group, and start ruthlessly oppressing the out-group. He thinks of Israel as a model. His only problem is he thinks Jews shouldn't be in America. He wants them sent to Israel. He likes it. He's only using the fucking antipathy that people have against what Israel is doing to the Palestinian people. He's taking advantage of it because he's a grift. He likes Hitler. You think he cares if people kill kids? You think Hitler's cool? You think he cares about stealing land? How do you say Hitler is cool according to Nick Fuentes, and then on the very next breath condemn Israel for doing the same exact shit? And Asmongold is the fucking Asmongold is more obvious with it, right? Because his antipathy, he's very eager to support Israel because he's a nihilist and his sadism is closer to the surface. He likes suffering. He likes making people suffer because he's weak and fear-filled. Fucking loser. Fuentes is in wrecker mode. I can't wait for Republicans to get destroyed in the midterms and then for Trump and his cabinet to get impeached. After totally betraying their own voters on deportation, Iran, H-1Bs, and Epstein files, they deserve to be fired. GOP must be burned down and rebuilt in 2020. I fucking love that he is like the most annoying grifters. Wait, chat. We have the coolest account name ever. Tier 3 Asmon sub, created 1 hour ago. You know what's funny? There really aren't many of you. Like, you come here to troll, but I have like 20 times as many tier 3s as he does because he's got so many bots and poor Eastern European fascist American LARPers. They don't have the money to tier 3. It's funny. I have 107 tier 3s. If we go and look at Asmongold, I'm sorry, it's Zach Rar. What a complete and utter 7. How the fuck do you have 7? How the fuck do you have 7 tier 3s? View botted as fuck, broke as fuck. And here's the thing, I'm in favor of helping out the poor. The people that watch Asmongold want the poor to suffer, and it's themselves. They're the guys like putting the boot on their own neck. That's the Zach Rar base. Holy shit, that's fucking crazy, dude. So Zach Rar tier 3 sub. You're 1 of 7. Hassan had to shut down his YouTube stream. He's too insecure of the view count. Bro, Asmon admitted to botting. Like, he admits that, okay, sorry, maybe he didn't admit that he botted themselves, but pretty much every single person in the organizations he runs has admitted to botted or being caught botted. He bots at least 20K. He's too insecure of his view count. And that's why he doesn't, run ads or, try to ask for subscriptions, because Hassan has 70,000 subscriptions. How does Zach have 5K? It's because he's a fucking botter. It's not complicated. Let's talk about view botting. Okay, we finished her, right? We finished the video. Okay. God, Anna Kasparian is a complete fucking grifter. Jesus Christ. Okay. Let's watch this video. And by the way, these guys, you can tell they're fucking botting because they have no fucking impact. I'm not going to start, firing strays, but you can tell who bots and who doesn't. Okay, you can tell who bots, and it's not that complicated to figure out.
Lacey revealed that he was offered a steak deal to stream on Kick and called out Kick CEO Eddie for calling him a view botter, $15K per 90 minutes, minimum 2 hours non-gambling content on Kick, or max crash out per month $500K, signing bonus $100K.
With this, I was approached with a deal from Steak, from Kick, where I was going to get 15K raw per 90 minutes. They wanted me to do 2 hours non-gambling content on Kick. If I'm 90% bots, why do you want me on your site doing 2 hours of non-gambling content? That doesn't make any sense to me. Max cash out per month, $500,000. Minimum guarantee, $250,000. Signing bonus, $100,000. $4,000 per IG story, $8,000 per IG reel, 25% revenue share affiliate. If you want me to do the math for you, this comes out, and this is just the base offer, to $4.5 million a year minimum. Why would you offer someone who's 90% bots a $5 million a year deal? Why would you do that?
Because they're putting people into gambling, and you have to understand how much people lose to gambling. Like gambling, people literally lose all of their money. You don't have to get that many people addicted. You really don't. If I got 100 people addicted to gambling, that would probably pay for that. Literally.
If I recall correctly, Kick canceled the deal once they found out he was botting. Everybody bots on Kick, though. Asmongold sided with Eddie. Kick doesn't pay bots. Yeah, of course Asmongold sided with...
I used to be more libertarian on gambling. I used to be a person who was like, you know, adults should be able to gamble, blah, 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 blah. We should deregulate, blah, 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 blah. I was wrong. I was completely wrong. Because I was able to gamble responsibly, I thought that gambling addiction was rare. And that was a mistake. I only looked at it from my perspective. The fact that I could go and gamble once or twice a year, lose $500 and then not do it, I thought other people were like that. And it's like, no, some people literally drain every single dollar they can into a slot machine. And it's a lot more people than I thought. So it is a scourge. It is a dangerous scourge. And the people that are gambling addicted, they're not even having a good time. They're an automaton. They can't even control themselves. They're not even having fun. They're not even enjoying themselves. They're just compelled. It's not even fun. My dad lost millions of dollars over 15 years. He died with $10 in his wallet. Jesus, fucking terrible.
With Eddie, Asmongold has a even fatter contract than this. Do you guys not know that Asmongold's a Kick streamer at this point? You know Asmongold streams on Kick, right? He has a Kick deal. He's literally getting the same bots if they are... I mean, look, a lot of these content creators do bot, okay? And they bot on Twitch too. A lot of the Kick streamers that are streaming on Kick...
You know why, chat? You know why I am in a very elite group of only a few hundred streamers? Because I don't bot. I'm one of the largest legitimate streamers on the entire platform. And it's very funny because Twitch knows that. They just despise my politics, but they can't, but they know that I'm one of the largest legitimate streamers. So it fucks them up. The thing is, I'm not big enough that they have to promote like Hassan. Hassan is, I think Hassan legitimately might be the third largest legitimate streamer.
Want higher placement on Twitch so they can bring real eyeballs and real attention.
By the way, Northern Lion, legit. Northern Lion does not bot. Okay? If you've ever seen a Northern Lion stream, you know that's all real unks. That's all the guys in the Social Security waiting room. That's all the guys going to Home Depot to pick up a bag of potting soil. That's all those fucking guys. They're watching Northern Lion. Okay? That's real.
Back to Kick. So, yes, they both bought on Kick and they bought on Twitch. It's interesting.
Discord has gotten really a topper lately. They keep bashing you reflexively. Everybody gets branded. A Mike Sport gets treated rudely. It's toxic as hell. Getting worse. Something needs to be... Really? I'll go check it out. I'll check it out.
Interesting because Twitch knows who's botting and they don't do anything about it. For them, I guess it's like too hard to deal with, or at least like it boosts their numbers as well. The entire point about like Twitch streamers botting is also so ridiculous because everybody bots on Kick. Everybody bots on Rumble. Everybody bots on Kick. Every single person that hates me has openly said I'm one of the only. This includes Trainwrecks. This includes probably Eddie as well.
My favorite thing is like all the Hassan parasocials who attack me for takes, and then Hassan has the same take and they're fucking silent on it. I think that might be funny. Anytime I get attacked for a take, to go find a clip of Hassan saying it. That's the best response.
And this even includes XQC. Every single person that has called out other people botting have consistently said, I'm the only top content creator on this platform that's never botted. The only person who has actually tried to claim that I bot is Asmonbot.
And the funniest thing about me view botting, right? This is the other thing too. I'll see if he is doing it today or not.
doing it today, ironically enough. If you look at my career, if you look at the trajectory.
It's just parasocial envy of your relationship with Hassan. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I mean, obviously I'm on the spectrum and I have a certain way about me that, you know, rubs some people the wrong way. Neurotypicals, you know, could get rubbed by my, like, you know, my verve, you know, the fact that I speak loudly and I'm angry and I, you know, like that kind of thing. Maybe it's like a thing like that. Hassan and I have like very similar takes. Like that's just a fact. People are soft. They can't handle tough convos. Also, I don't play in any, like Hassan, the main difference between me and Hassan is I don't play into the rad lib games. I don't play into the like, oh, oh man, oh gosh, whip. I'm a man. Oh God, I'm sorry, a man is talking, and like whip myself performatively. I don't do that. I take misogyny very seriously. I take racism very seriously. I'm very focused on human liberation. I have an intersectional approach to politics, but I don't have this like performative liberal, like, oh, I'm a white man. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, I'm speaking. I'm a white man. Oh, I don't do that shit.
Of my viewership growth, or even if you look at,
you're also pretty good at insulting people, and sometimes you're too liberal with insults. True. Sometimes I call people dumb too quickly.
The way people respond to me
when I think of Haas, I think legitimately, and this is, you want me to give you my honest opinion. This is me telling you the truth. I'm not shining things up at all. I think Hassan Piker is probably one of the most important millennial political actors in the entire world. I think that he massively underestimates his importance. I think that without him, things would legitimately be much worse in the world and more hopeless. I'm not even kidding. I think that his stream and his projects and the work that he does may be the reason that we win. I don't think people glaze him enough, quite honestly. That's my honest take. And not only is it because, and the other thing is, he's a good person. I don't throw that around a lot. Like, I have criticism with him. He's very ADHD. He's extreme, like when you're like he's very annoying to talk to in the sense that he like leaves too many. He will like talk to you and be actively talking to you, and then in the middle of the conversation, he'll just leave you on red, and then he'll come back and answer 12 hours later. It's in the middle of the back and forth, and he doesn't just do it to me. He does it to literally everyone. You'll be talking to him, he'll be talking back. You'll be talking, and then he'll just be like ADHD. No, you overestimate his reach. Asmund has way more reach. He cancels out Hassan. Not even close. Not even close. Will you be collaborating? Oh, I'm collabing with Hassan soon, chat. Soon TM. Soon TM. Me, Yagopnik, and Hassan are doing a collab very soon. Oh, wait, we're shooting guns? Do you actually know when we're shooting guns? Well, when we have a more firm date, I'll talk about that. Hassan is speaking with Birdie today. Oh, I know. Fuck, I should message him. I meant to get more involved in this specific thing, but I didn't. This is my fault. You see this by the Wall Street Journal? It just came out. I was sick. The thing is, I was like fucking sick last week, and I didn't want to talk to anybody. A major U.S. arms sales package for Taiwan is in limbo. Oh yeah, Vio has a new emote. Oh my God, that emote is insane. What the fuck? The new Vio emote. This is honestly my life. The new Vio emote. Pushing the butt against the glass. It's a favorite, chat. It's a favorite. It's a favorite. It's a favorite. Okay, what were we saying? Okay, anyway, let's keep going. Hassan Piker is honestly I can't praise him enough. You know, the only thing I would say about him is history has been thrust upon him in a way that I don't think that I think he can sense it, and it's very scary. And you don't want to be a grandiose narcissist, right? It's very obnoxious to be a grandiose narcissist. But with our support, I think he will rise to the occasion. It's how I feel about a lot of people. Can I just say, I was watching the Fear and Austin said he was thinking about running for office, and I think he should. I think it would be fine. But he needs to get more involved with, like, he has to live somewhere long enough, and he needs to get involved with the politics there. But I think Austin is thinking about it. I think a bunch of other people are starting to think about it. And as we get older, you know, once we start hitting our 40s, you know, like, this is really something that people in the Hassan orbit should be taking seriously. I legitimately think that. Caleb is so right regarding moderates here.
And they're like trying to force compliance with their centrist like candidate of choice 8 years ahead of the fucking election or whatever. Gavin Newsom being the one right now. They always be like, oh, well, we couldn't possibly win. And it's like, if you talk to any organizer worth their salt, and I'm certainly not talking about me, I'm talking about organizers I like actually admire and respect, mostly tenant organizers. The belief in a better future and the hope that we actually can have a better world is the most core principle. Like, I can't keep talking to these fucking centrists that are like, well, that'll just never happen. It's like, then why talk to you at all?
Yeah.
Why would I ever talk to you about the world?
What are you doing this for?
Right.
What are we even doing this for if we're just going to continue to capitulate to right-wing positions?
Right. What's the point?
What the fuck is the point?
Why not lose with some fucking class and style? Like, let's lose and like say what we mean.
Yeah, exactly.
If that's truly what's going to happen, let's lose and be.
But they don't want that. That's the whole point. Like they actually don't want that, and their goal overall is to like manage this this current predicament and hope that they never actually like win enough power that they have to do something, because then if they do things that they promised, then they disrupt they harm their corporate benefactors and their bottom line, and they can't do that.
Right. They don't want to upset the corporate donors. They don't want to upset their billionaire friends. They don't want to upset their own pipeline to like very well paid lobbyists.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. That if they ever actually had to make good on the things, they're like, that's why they keep holding abortion over everybody's heads.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, well, abortion. It's like, that's the only thing you have for us.
Yeah.
Eventually working people's lives are going to have to get better.
Yeah.
When they're talking about leftist
and can I just say that's exactly correct. And like the fear of human beings have a cognitive bias called loss aversion. It's one of the things that is very bad. The problem with human beings is that since we evolved in a resource scarce environment as mammals, when we have something, we intuitively understand that one in the hand is better than two in the bush. So if we lose the one in the hand, we fucking go loon. We go crazy. We defend what we already have. We're worried about losing what we already have more than missing an opportunity where we could have had a lot more. And this cognitive bias makes us not take advantage of things or not do things that would objectively make our lives better because we fear losing what we have, right? More than we would appreciate gaining. That's centrists and conservatives know about this. They study psychology and they ruthlessly exploit our cognitive frailties. They look for things that we do, biases that we have that are part of our cognition, and they exploit them and they use it for their own wealth and status and power.
Go outside, mother. I think you understand a content creator who bots versus a content creator who does not. Okay. Did you explain the spike in followers you had recently? Asman showed it clearly. Yes, brother. People engage in mass following with bots.
What does Bert, did someone accuse me of mixing metaphors for one of the most famous English idioms? What does a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush mean? Having something for certain is better than the possibility of getting something better. A bird in the hand is a sure thing. It's in your hand. You already have the bird. If you try to catch another, however, you risk losing the bird in your hand and also whatever it was that you were trying to catch. Now you have no bird in hand, and there's no guarantee that you would get the two in the bush. In other words, it's better to be sure about something smaller than to be unsure about something bigger. That's what I'm talking about, is everybody gets focused. That's why whenever they're talking about Medicare for all, they don't talk about Medicare for all from the perspective of what would Medicare for all look like? How would that benefit humanity? How would that benefit all of us? They say, you're going to lose your private insurance. You're going to lose your doctor. Loss aversion. Aren't you scared of losing what you have? That's the entire argument they get, because they understand that human beings have a cognitive bias toward loss aversion. So that's how they talk about it, because they study you and they go, how do we take advantage? How do we take advantage of the dumb pieces of shit so we can milk them for more? In cognitive science and behavioral economics, loss aversion refers to a cognitive bias in which the same situation is perceived as worse if it is framed as a loss rather than a gain. So you could tell if somebody's a disgusting corporate ghoul, centrist scum who should be hanged by the neck until they crack their back, and you know, we help them become leftists by helping, you know, relieve some of the disc compression they had. So now that their back doesn't hurt, so they're nicer, you know. Chronic pain can make you irritable, chat. So I want to hang the centrists by the neck to help crack their back so they feel more relaxed. It should not be confused with risk aversion, which describes the rational behavior evaluating an uncertain outcome as less than expected value. When defined in terms of the pseudo-utility function as a cumulative prospect theory, the left hand of the function increases the more steeply than gains, thus making more painful than satisfaction from comparable gain. Empirically, losses tend to be treated as if they were twice as large as an equivalent gain. So that's why when we're talking about Medicare for all, centrists try to fixate on, you'll lose your doctor, you'll lose your health insurance, oh my God, but you're gaining something that's better. And you probably won't lose your doctor because your doctors, people lose their doctor all the fucking time. We're constantly losing our doctors. We're constantly changing our health insurance policies. And if your doctor doesn't take that as health insurance policy, too fucking bad. So they say this shit about you losing your insurance, you losing your doctor, but those are constantly changing and you're constantly losing your doctor, but they don't give a fuck about what's real. They're just trying to scare you. That's also why they hate Medicare for all, because if we got Medicare for all, then the loss aversion would be in our favor. Nobody would want to lose their Medicare for all. Nobody wants to lose their Social Security. Nobody wants to lose their Medicare. That's why they can't touch it, because they understand if they try to go after that shit directly, then we're going to cut their heads off in Minecraft. They'll be like the little piggy creatures.
That's why we have a follow limit, because people hate raid. Like the premier botter here is Aiden Ross, and even he has admitted it. I think Aiden Ross fires back Ice Persona admits view botting and says everybody does it, claiming 90% of streamers use bots. Everyone on Kick bots. Everybody knows that everyone on Kick bots. And apparently, and I did not know this, like I didn't even think.
Why the fuck are you botting? Why? It's so stupid. I mean, I guess if you're a talentless fucking bore and you have nothing of value to say, you know, it's the only way you could get attention is by driving yourself up and then tricking people into thinking you might have a community and then psyoping yourself into, like, I don't know. I mean, does it work? I mean, I guess it works for some people. It's basically how Cavicular got popular. He's a lolcow. He's a fucking lolcow. He's getting funded by the right-wing billionaires, as usual, because they're grasping at anything. As I said before, the billionaires on the right, anytime there's anything that might have any motion at all, they drop a fire hose of money on it. Okay? Whenever there's something on the left that has emotion, they drop a fire hose on money to smother it. Now, the problem with that, and it's good news, chat, that eventually, whatever burns out of the left has to be strong, has to be robust, has to be able to burn through the fire hose.
Asmongold bought it. If you recall, when I first found out that Asmongold was botting, when Kick purged the bots for like 2...
Unrelated, but opinions on Mark Kelly running for president. He fucking sucks. He's one of the worst senators in the country, and I would rather die than vote for Mark Kelly.
Days, and Asmongold went from like always being 10K above me to being beneath me on the leaderboard for 1 day or 2 days. That's when I realized, oh, this motherfucker bots too. Everybody on Kick bots and a lot of people on Twitch bot as well. He said you were follower botting. Asmongold agreed with the XQC that you are not view botting. I'm not follower botting. No one gives a shit about followers. I don't even farm followers to begin with. Like, I don't even give a fuck about how many followers I have. No one cares on Twitch about how many followers you have. Everybody cares about your live concurrent viewership. The only reason why I have like big spikes in followership is when there's like a big news day or something and a lot of people come in and follow, or people who do actually bot followers to hate raid. And not only do people do that all the time, but we straight up use Fossabot to purge through all of those like botted followers. I've showed it to you guys in the past. You keep mixing up Twitch and Kick. No, everyone on Kick bots, and a lot of top content creators on Twitch bot as well. I didn't know that people on Twitch botted. I'm not mixing it up. Okay, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't give a about how many followers I have. I've never given a shit about how many followers I have. I have far less followers overall than like many of these other like top content creators. And I have far...
Yeah, because we're not botting. That's why, like, I have 100,000 whatever followers, but I have more viewers than people that have literally millions.
Higher live concurrent viewership than they do. Okay. Oh, I said Kick purged bots for 2 days. I meant Twitch. Yes, thank you. So when Twitch purged bots for 2 days, that's when I found out that Asmongold was botting. I apologize for mixing the two up. Yes. And since then, Twitch knows who's botting. They just don't do anything about it.
Staple Ronaldo is like a pretty big botter, isn't he?
A big botter?
Yeah. Was he the guy that, like, he was the guy she was just talking to? Like, that guy's like a crazy botter.
I don't know. Look, I don't. You know, the phase guys, that whole phase rise.
All those phase guys were like botting like 90% of their numbers. I remember they came to Kick and like there was like this time where like a few of them came over and we're like, yeah, right. Now we see you.
When Lacey? Do you remember when Lacey came over and he was like,
Lacey had like, I think like 100 real viewers or something. It was like, what the fuck, and a bunch of chat bots.
Oh God, bro! Like that's bad. That is really bad. And like, is this true? Is it real? I don't know if it's true or not. But like, if you can't go to another platform, like right now, like we on Kick right now, and we chilling at. I just look, we chilling at 10,000. We got 10,000 people watching on Kick, and that's just, bro. That's just on another. That's also a whole other separate broadcast. And so Lacey was crying about not getting paid. Well, it's because they don't pay for bots. That's the reason why they don't pay for bots.
Yeah, of course he's gonna say that. He's literally on a Kick contract. When Asmongold does AAVE, that's it. Burns my soul, by the way. When we chilling on Kick right now. God damn, bro, you're 40. You cannot be doing AAVE like this. Okay, it just feels so weird. Even if he was 20, it would still be cringe. So we watched Lacey talk about it. Let's see what Ron said.
Right, that wants to succeed is going on a podcast saying this. By the way, just want to point out, that's why your platform's never going to be anything. It's just the truth. Whether it's me.
These guys are down to pay millions of dollars to content creators, botting or not, right? They're down to pay millions of dollars to content creators because they want big names that are big on Twitch to come to Kick to offer legitimacy to Kick. And the reason why they want legitimacy for Kick and more eyeballs for Kick, like real eyeballs that come along with the botted eyeballs or whatever, is so that they can actually convert them into gamblers, right? Because Kick is basically the Las Vegas entertainment reel of the Las Vegas casino. Stake being the casino, Kick being the entertainment and the performance. Even though they want it, they're also incredibly embedded and incredibly invested in like the streamer lifestyle. Eddie was like a OG, from what I understand, he was like an OG Twitch fan, and for that reason, he's like super invested in this. They have more money than God. It doesn't even matter to them. They'll drop $1 million easily, $6 million contract for like Lacey. Whether they're botting or not doesn't even matter. But this kind of like talking once those deals fall through is so funny, because who the would ever want to join the platform after that? I mean, I guess like really desperate people, right? People who are desperate for financial support. And there's plenty of like smaller content creators who will say yes to that bag. But you have basically decided to.
Yeah, but they're not really giving. I mean, again, Kick only exists because they are a funnel for a crypto gambling site that steals money. And when I say steals money, I mean, I don't know if Kick is reliable and fair gambling or not. Because it's in what, Curacao or some fucking, imagine putting your money on a fucking gambling site from some Caribbean island with no regulations. Like, it's brain dead. It's fucking brain dead. I mean, even real casinos in Las Vegas have been caught fucking with their degens and fucking over there and doing illegal shit. And you're going to send your money in crypto form to Kick to stake.com? I mean, at a certain point, you deserve to be scammed.
Make your platform the platform to go to.
Or it could be just that Asmod is more likable. Bro, Asmongold just...
When people don't have any other options, your platform will be forever associated with people like that. Does that make sense?
You're talking about or not, it's never going to be anything. That's the truth. But let's decipher this clip one by one.
Isn't like Stable Ronaldo is like a pretty big botter, isn't he?
If I'm a big botter, Eddie, why did you offer me and your team at Kick millions and millions and millions of dollars? I have the contracts written up. I have the conversations between my management before. Millions of dollars. If I'm such a big botter, why would you want to waste money? I'm so confused. Why would you want to waste money?
I mean, botting or not, it doesn't matter to them. This is also the reason why they bought streamers that also have a Kick contract. They bought streamers on Twitch that have a Kick contract. Unless that streamer very specifically says don't do that, XQC being one of those streamers. Let's be real. XQC has a Kick contract. XQC does not bot. Okay? So very clearly at some point.
Yeah, because every time you split your community to more and more platforms, the lower your overall viewership will be, like, on each platform. So, like, let's say I started streaming on YouTube. I started multi-streaming on YouTube. I would have a lower viewership here because some of you prefer YouTube. So even if it led to me growing because I start getting more YouTube only viewers, I'd be lower than I would be on Twitch. And the problem is with Twitch in particular, the better you do, the more people come into your stream. Like, Twitch is very top heavy. The way that like all the search happens, all the like all the discoverability, all the linking and the algo, all the recommendations. It's like more viewers equals more of all of those things. So more people will find you the bigger you are. So if you lower yourself down, that you start dropping below competitors, your growth gets. And the other factor is Twitch viewers are the most valuable type of viewers for you to have. So you want people watching you on Twitch. Twitch is the best. Kick understands that. So in order for you, if you go over to Kick and you bring over some real legitimate people over to Kick, that's worth it to them to then bot you on Twitch to make sure that you don't lose any of your viewership. And if they bot you to where you were before you left, it doesn't look suspicious. Does that make sense? So let's say that I have 5,000 viewer average, and then I sign a Kick contract and I split my viewership, and 1,000 of you go over there, and I'm down here at 4,000. If they bought me back up to 5,000, nobody notices. But I've still got that Kick viewership, and they're paying me money for that because it looks legitimate. It looks like I just got more viewers now that I'm on Kick. When in reality, what's happening is they're funneling people over to Kick. Some percentage of them become addicted to gambling. Some percentage of them dump all their income to Kick, and I get a percentage of that. That is the whole grift. That's it in a nutshell.
Point. XQC probably told Kick, do not bot me. Let's be real.
Caused by Muslims, historically the world's biggest colonizers. I think one of the things that's very funny about kind of like conservatives in general is they do this kind of behavior where they're like, so is bad for doing the behavior that I'm doing. And then you point out that that's what they're doing. You're saying Muslims are bad because Muslims in 800, Islam was spread in part by military conquest by elites in 800 AD. And that means that committing a genocide in Gaza in 2026 is okay. That's your argument, bro? That's your smartest argument?
Real. Asmongold may or may not have had that conversation, or maybe did not have that conversation.
Very boring.
But it's not an accident. Like when Stable Ronaldo was collabing with Aiden Ross, he was getting 60K, 70K viewership. Okay, here's some proof. When Aiden was usually getting 40K to 50K on Kick, Kick removed his boss for one day and he was stuck at 10K.
Yo, Kick is playing with me, bro.
Yeah, Aiden Ross had 8K viewers.
We'll go to Twitch. I just, they're already here, Lico. So if we were to swap to Twitch right fucking now, I know we'd get more than 9,000 viewers.
I can't believe that's his background. That's his wallpaper. Actually, I can believe it. Of course, that's his wallpaper. So, as I was saying, Kick also bots. Kick bots the Kick streamers. Kick bots the Kick streamers that stream on Twitch. The reason why they do that is because Twitch is a very top-heavy platform. This was part of the reason why I also didn't want to split my viewership between Twitch and YouTube. Twitch is a very top-heavy platform. What that means is when you're at the top of the leaderboard, you get a bunch of real viewership on top of that, right? The difference between like being at the top of the directory with like 20,000 real viewers means you will inevitably grow from that point on to get like 25,000 real viewers, 30,000 real viewers. Basically, when you are at the top of the leaderboard, when you're at the top of the directory on Twitch, you also get a bunch of real eyeballs. Like, for example, if you get placement at the front page, that automatically logs all of the people that are clicking on the front page as an extra viewer. Okay, it automatically clocks 10,000, sometimes 20,000 extra viewers who are just browsing the website at the time or just tuning into twitch.tv at the time. So when you have a larger viewership number, it puts you at the top of the directory. When you are at the top of the directory, more people tune into you because there's a lot of people at any given moment that come to Twitch and just go, let me click on the top of the directory. Okay, that's it. Extra Life used to do that. That's why embedding was banned. Initially, embedding was a real problem on the platform. The reason why they stopped embeds is because Extra Life was constantly like, they had like 4 people watching, but they had like 40,000 people actually watching in real time because anyone that went to the Extra Life website was automatically clocked as a viewer on their Twitch stream because it would just like automatically open a window. It would force you to watch the Extra Life stream when you weren't clearly watching the Extra Life stream. That's how it worked, right? A lot of people have tried different methods to get to the top of the leaderboard, and botting is like the most resilient version of this. That's just what it is. That's why a lot of people
chat. Theo is getting sick. Hate to see it. Hate to see it. And it's like, I was sick and Vio didn't get sick from me. But we suspect we know who got her sick. We have a person we want to blame. Mike got Vio sick. No, I've been healthy for like a week now.
Bot.
Wouldn't I view about my revenue too? Every single day? Wouldn't I view about this or no?
Okay. His revenue is $29,000, 29,000 subscriptions, 29,000 average viewers. That sounds legit to me. 200 hours streamed, that's a lot of streaming. Looks legit to me. Looks like ad revenue, turbo revenue. That looks legit to me.
Have you bought this or no? That's my question. Would I cheat the system? Would I view bot my revenue too? I dare you. Ask streamers who you think that view bot show the revenue. Show it. Show it. Show the revenue. Show the revenue.
Yeah.
Imagine if I ran ads, chat. Imagine if I ran ads.
Is wild.
Wait, Ron, I have a question. Turkey subs. What about it? Turkey subs. 70-30 on Twitch. 1,000 subs January 1st. On this day, 1,850. 554. 718 plus 718. $3,122 just off subs.
How does Turbo work with the revenue split? I thought you were just paying the platform. Anytime an ad.
Nope. Turbo gives. Okay, so it's better for a person to watch ads on your channel, but I think there's like some sort of, I don't know exactly how Twitch divides it. I think there's like a Turbo pool and they like divide it among people for avoided ads. I don't know how exactly it works.
Run.
Buy a complex. Let's make Austria. You think I have that kind of money? I'm not even a millionaire, bro. You think I could build an apartment? And I'm not even a millionaire, bro.
If you're a Turbo viewer, if you have Turbo, Twitch gives you a percentage of that ad revenue as though it ran. I think that's how they do it.
I mean, listen, if I stream for a few more years at the level I am at, then maybe I can afford an apartment, but not now. Mike, what do I think of Infrared? Infrared could have been one of the more interesting content creators, but then he fell down the Destiny debate bro pipeline. He got involved with John Zerko, probably one of the creepiest creators on all the platforms. His mind was rotted by like proximity to these like red pill toxic spaces, and unfortunately he got polarized into trying to posture against me, Hassan, left-wing, the actual left in America in general. And now he's just in like, he's connected with some sort of like weird Russian intelligence op. Seems like a total failure. He was cool and interesting for like 5 minutes. He has one of the, like, early on in his career, he has one of the funniest clips of all time. In fact, I'll show it to you because we haven't watched it in a while. It makes me laugh every time. It's called Infrared, I Am a Mongoloid. It is probably one of the best ever made.
Well, you're just talking like a Mongoloid.
I don't give a f***. I am a Mongoloid. In my heart, I'm a Mongoloid. That is what I am. We are a horde. That is what we are. Yes, we are that. We are 100% that.
That's not something to be proud of.
It is something to be proud of, because the Mongols are the ones who created civilization. And you created nothing but barbarism. You're the fucking barbarians. You destroyed the treasures of mankind. The Mongols only united it. What the fuck do you know about civilization? What the fuck do you know about pride? What the fuck do you have to be proud of except looting, genociding, and destroying the cultures and peoples and wealth of this world? What the fuck do you know, Cans Cuck?
Well, you're the one here chipping out, so...
I am chipping out, bitch, because I'm a fucking human being, and you're a little soy boy cuck, little bitch. You don't know who the fuck I am.
No, I see you. I think you're a Mongoloid. That's what you...
I am a Mongoloid. You're right. It is what I am, and I'm proud of being that.
Well, it's an anthropological term. It doesn't actually mean Mongol.
Oh, so what's your fucking point? You ugly, disgusting, fucking ugly, disgusting, fucking barbarian, smelly piece of shit. You want to talk racism? I can be way more racist than you, Angloid. What fucking civilizations did Angloids ever fucking have? It needed the Romans to fuck all of you in your ass to give you any civilization. You never had any of your own. You want to be racist? I could be way more racist. You want to talk shit about Asians? What the fuck do you have on Asia, huh?
I have nothing on it.
You have nothing, because you're a Cans Cuck, bitch.
Like, honest to God, if he returned to that, that's the Infrared we all want to see. The problem is they've like, and it's sad. It's actually sad. It bums me out because that's some good energy. Like that would be the perfect time for that. But unfortunately, they kind of like, they fucking psyop themselves into being anti-Bernie, anti-AOC, anti-me, anti-Hassan. And I get it. anarchists are annoying. I get it. Libs are fucking annoying, but they psyop themselves, and now they have an untenable position. They've burned too many bridges. I don't know. I mean, personally, I think they can try. They can work themselves out of it. We'll see. I think the pamphlets guy is one of their guys, right? They gotta chill. Like, I don't know. We'll see. Like Dugin and all that. Like the Russians are dumb, dude. The Russians are not anti-imperialist. They're not anti-West. They're all a fucking oligarchy. There's nothing good. Like China, they are fucking way more interested. If you're gonna like pick an American adversary to look at, it's clearly China. Russia sucks. Russia fucking sucks. Iran, not. You have you have people that have like become obsessed with Iran and Hamas because they're anti-American, right? Then you have the people that picked Russia, and those two groups, they're just not. That's not fruitful. They're conservative nations in their essence, and it's just not a place that we on the left could look at and go like, yes, we should be like the Iran mullahs. Like, come on. So overall, that's my general take on the whole ACP guys, because it's just like they got psyoped by Destiny, they got psyoped by all that shit, and it's like work your way out of it. Work your way out of it. Recognize that Russia's a fucking dud. I don't know about Ron, but Lacey also has a bunch of subs that he's botting like at least a third of his viewers, about 600 viewers or 6,000 viewers. Authenticated bots, 32%. I feel like there's some sort of like bot level that Twitch it permits, and it's weird.
Like, since I stopped running ads, I don't get any Twitch Turbo revenue. Like, this largest chunk of money that Stable Ronaldo is getting is literally from ads, okay? Like, this pinkish purple and this yellow is from Turbo and ads. So more than half, larger, like almost 60% of his revenue comes from ads. So me stopping my ads meant 60%.
He streamed he streamed 200 hours, and 41 of them were ads. 41 hours of the 200 he streamed were ads. Damn, that's a lot of ads. Holy shit. That's a lot of ads, bro. 41 hours of ads. Woo. That's an ad every 10 minutes. Yeah. Woo.
Revenue loss overall. Of course,
when I was able to run ads, I would run 4 minutes of ads an hour. I'd run 3 minutes of ads every 45 minutes. That was my ad split. But I turned them off. Fuck them. Like, I'm not doing it. Fuck them. I probably should, because it's a lot of money, and we're not talking about Gaza's genocide anymore, so I don't think they would really care. They don't want you to run ads talking about Israel. That's really what it is, because they get yelled at. That's what they get yelled at for. So as long as you're not talking about Israel, you probably could get away with running ads. Pre-rolls stop people from wanting to watch. Do I have pre-rolls? There was a pre-roll when I clicked on stream today. Okay, I gotta look at. Maybe they're running ads now. Maybe I'll have to go back to running some amount of ads. Because all of you are subbed. Why are we not talking about Gaza? I mean, I do talk about Gaza. That's why I don't run ads, because I don't care. I'd rather talk about Israel and Gaza than run ads. Oh, did I misspeak? Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Probably runs like much more. He probably runs a lot more ads than I do anyway.
Speaking of ads, did I shill? No, I didn't. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting it by subscribing. I don't run any ads because, god damn, Lacey makes a lot. That's crazy how much he makes from ads. I would want to see the ad breakdown. Like, how much of his added turbo revenue is like, what, 80% of that? That's a lot. That's crazy. And I don't blame him. I mean, like, Jesus Christ, that's a lot of money. Ronaldo, not Lacey. Sorry, I don't follow any of the FaZe guys. W Gifters, yes. Thank you for supporting the stream, Brute Z. Appreciate you.
It's real. It says he ran 41 hours of ads that month. That's crazy. I run 0 ads. 0. The reason why he's showing this is to be like, this is real viewership. Explain how this proves he isn't botted. Not trying to be a dig. I'm just confused. I mean, I think he's just trying to say that he has 29,000 subscriptions for 29,000 average viewers, which implies that he's like, he has a real audience and he's not botting them. But then again, I don't know if Twitch actually serves ad revenue to bots as well. I wonder if that's actually the case.
Hell yeah, chat. Hey, thank you for supporting the stream, everybody. And the botting is so bad. Okay, chat. Kyle Kalinske. Okay, chat. I want to make a video that unites Kyle Kalinske, myself, and China maxing. So I think this is because I need to get the Kyle Kalinske. Kyle Kalinske is China maxing now. Total victory for the left. Okay. Kyle Kalinske is China maxing now. That's actually just a good title. Kyle Kalinske is China maxing now? Question mark? Exclamation point. Whoa. Theo made one of her favorite meals, chat. Kielbasa. She's trying to copy the soundboard. Oh, no. Kielbasa and penne, I guess, huh? And shrimp. Succulent meal? All right. It's Kulinski, right? Malinsky? Why do I have it Malinsky? Kalinske. Okay, Jesus. I typoed. They're right next to each other on the keyboard. Okay. Kyle Kalinske. China is embarrassing the U.S. I've been waiting for this day. Somebody link me the clip of Kyle Kalinske accepting authoritarian leftism. Oh, Grev, you got it. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, Grev, you got it. You know it. Okay, let's keep it. Okay, hold on. Kyle Kalinske has begun to embrace China Max. Now, if you're new to my channel, you may not be aware that my name is Mike from PA, and the Central Committee stream, we have been the home of China Maxing since 2019. So welcome on in. Welcome into the place of embracing socialism with Chinese characteristics. And I am glad to welcome all of you from Secular Talk and Kyle Kalinske into the warm embrace of Xi Jinping.
It's kind of crazy to watch the U.S. completely and utterly unravel. Basically that meme has come to real life. The meme where like the United States is stabbing itself repeatedly and the rest of the world is looking at it with like a shocked face on. That's actually happening in real life. And, the dollar will eventually be dropped as the world reserve currency. And that'll just absolutely cook this country and, have us face a new Great Depression. It's bad. It's really bad. But at the same time that's going on, people don't really talk about the fact that China is now rapidly on the rise. And China is now...
Oh, we talk about it. And thank you, everybody, for all the support. I see you. I'm just in the middle of a bit. We see you. And I called it. I've been calling for an acceptance and a recognition of China's investments. And when they happened in 2019, I pointed you to them. And now they're starting to see rapid change. And I don't think people understand. When Kyle gets into it, I want you to understand that when we say rising, we're not talking about China is like, 5% of the US or 50% of the US. No, they're doing stuff that we cannot do. 31,000 miles of high-speed rail. That would be enough high-speed rail to go from the East Coast to the West Coast 10 times in the United States. They have built more solar panels in the last 6 months and installed them than the United States has ever done in our entire history. China has used more concrete in the last 2 years than America did in the entire 20th century. China could now build 300 times as many ships as we can. China now produces more steel than the United States and America did at their absolute peak combined.
In some ways, just dusting us and lapping us and leaving us in the past. Okay, and everybody knows it, but nobody talks about it. So first, let me show you this. Take a look at this here. This is in Reuters. The numbers speak for itself. China is on its way to become a superpower, fully powered by renewables. China's epic renewables boom lifts it into rare, clean capacity club. So this is the difference, y'all, between having like rational, intelligent leaders and having like ancient, corrupt dinosaur idiots lead the country. And that's what you get from Trump. That's what you get from Marco Rubio.
Say what you will about the Chinese Communist Party. The leadership is ruthlessly intelligent and pragmatically interested in improving China's conditions. And they also include improving the conditions of regular, everyday people. This isn't just like, oh, we want to make ourselves stronger so we're richer. They have raised 800 million people out of extreme poverty. It used to be that 90% of Chinese people were in extreme poverty. Do you know what percentage of Chinese people are in extreme poverty now, as defined by the United Nations? 0. Do you know how many Americans, what percentage of Americans live in extreme poverty, as defined by the United Nations? This will break your heart. 1.5%. More Americans are in extreme poverty, as defined by the United Nations. Now, I'm not talking about I'm not talking about our domestic poverty line. I'm talking about extreme poverty as defined by the United Nations. Extreme. 1%. I think it's like 1.4%. That's disgusting.
You get from Stephen Miller. That's what you get from Elon Musk. That's what you get from Howard Nutlick. That's what you get from all these people. They're old, they're corrupt, they're dirty. And so the way they think about governance is not even at all about governance. It's about how can I enrich myself?
Correct.
How can I make more money? How can I get more power?
Whereas in China, that happens too. I don't want you to think that China is some utopia. There are people that are abusing their party's power. There's people that are abusing their position to enrich themselves. And what makes the reason why America's losing their mind about China, whereas we were happy to trade with them for 30 years, you know, and buy from them cheap goods, and we didn't care about what was going on in China. But the reason why we're panicking now is when Xi Jinping was sworn into office in 2012, he said, I'm going to fix corruption in America or in China. I'm going to fix corruption at low corruption and high corruption. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to attack it and I'm going to fix it. And they have arrested over 600,000 party members for corruption.
How can I get more control? This is how they think of politics. This is what they think politics is about. They don't think of it as like, what's our national project? What are we working on? What are we fixing? How are we improving the country? How are we making it a more perfect union for everybody involved? How do we do something that creates national pride? They don't think about that at all. They're literally part of the Epstein class of China.
Okay, I was wrong, chat. I misremembered. 3.7 million people have been disciplined in some level from for corrupt activity or misuse of power, while 5 million have been investigated. So whether it's small corruption at the local level to all the way at the highest levels, when the corruption is found, people are punished.
Old rapists, and they're thinking, how can I become a multi-billionaire, right? Like, this is what they're thinking. And so that's where you get a situation where Trump generally acts like, if it dips below 32 degrees, this motherfucker's out there posting like, what happened to global warming, huh? What happened to, you fucking idiots, you thought global warming was real. How stupid are you? This is what he says. And so, but he's making national policy match that. He's still trying to hang on to coal, right? He's killing all the renewable projects that were funded under Biden. He's killing all of those shits, all of them. So now we're stuck in this weird position where we're relying on oil, we're relying on natural gas, we're reliant on dirty fossil fuels. We're actively killing any path to the future, which leaves this lane wide open for China to do the research, do the development, do the manufacturing, and then they can come up with all this new technology where they get the patents and they'll make the money for the energy sources of the future. That's what's happening. Now, you get stuff like this. The scale of China's electricity projects is just on another level. A hillside in rural Guizhou, China, covered in solar panels. Thousands of them stretch across mountain ridges to the horizon, transforming bare rock into terawatt-hour electricity. Let me play this for you. Watch this. I'll mute it for you. But yeah, look at this. There's a mountain range in China. They're using this for renewable technology. They're using this for solar. I mean, this looks like some AI generated shit, but I looked it up and it's actually true. Shit is crazy. Okay, wait.
By the way, and the thing about this is people may be like weirded out by, oh, think about all these are desert mountains. And in fact, the solar panels are creating shade, which is actually greening the mountains underneath the panels. So it's creating a anti-desertification process that is taking place. So you may be like, wow, that's a lot of panels. It almost seems like it's too many panels, but it's actually, this was a desolate area and it made the land more friendly to life.
Not done. China doing a two-layer setup, solar panels on the surface for electricity, and fish, shrimp, and crabs farmed underneath, called Fishery Photovoltaic Complementary, integrates floating photovoltaic solar panels with aquaculture. Okay, so I'll show you what this looks like here. Watch this. Yeah, so this is, they're
Amazing.
Utilizing these bodies of water, and they're getting solar power by putting this stuff on the bodies of water.
This also creates, and what's really interesting, another Edgermentum L.
Look at this.
Funny guy. It also creates shade, right? So that lowers evaporation for things like reservoirs, fisheries. It protects the growth. So instead of like previously people would get shade from like tarps and stuff, you have shade from solar panels. So you have less microplastics, you have increased productivity, and you're generating electricity. It's a win-win-win.
It's absolutely incredible. And then, PBS actually covered something about China not that long ago. And listen to what they say here. This is just enlightening.
For decades, China's government has reshaped the country with dramatic displays of state power, from vast infrastructure projects that have remade entire provinces to nationwide campaigns that attempt to shape citizens' behavior. Ali Rogan takes a look at what those sweeping measures say about China's ambitions and what they may mean for the future of U.S.-Chinese competition.
From high-speed rail to state-of-the-art factories and soaring bridges.
To Emperor Zeno, I'm gonna be real with you. As somebody who knows a little bit about aquaculture, I'm pretty skeptical of whatever efficiency you theoretically get from doing this will translate into actual realized efficiency gains. It's about using already disturbed land. So if you assume you have a fish and crab farm and it's taking up land, right? That's already land that is being dedicated to an industrial or agricultural use. And what you're doing is you are adding solar panels to the mix, so you're not having to disturb more land, and you're actually generating more income and more productivity from the same disturbed land. So just from that alone, it is increasing productivity.
China is building infrastructure projects at an unprecedented scale and pace. The poor rural province of Guizhou is now home to nearly half of the world's 100 tallest bridges. This fall, cars crossed the newest tallest bridge in the world for the first time. The bridge cut travel across the river from hours to mere minutes, according to state media. Visitors and locals celebrated the grand opening with a water and light display,
Chinese dragon,
and base jumps from a special viewing platform, part of the record-breaking project's tourism appeal.
It serves several purposes: symbolic, political, economic, and just in terms of improving vastly the quality of life of people that use them.
Andrew Murtha is the director of the China Global Research Center at the Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies.
I think it's difficult for people in the U.S. to understand just what a massive change this type of infrastructure building over the past 30 years has meant for China.
That's the thing. I think a lot of people think that the Chinese people are unhappy with the Communist Party, or they're bitter against the Communist Party. And the reality is, if you are 60 years old, every single year of your life in China has been better than the prior one. And in the last 30 years, as an adult, you've seen it get better exponentially faster. Think about that. Think about your 60-year-old parent. Is that true of them? Think about the last 30 years of your life. Has it been getting every year better than the prior one? I would say that for at least the last 20 years, things have been getting worse every single year.
A few decades, China has built highways twice the length of the entire U.S. interstate highway system.
In just a few decades, twice the length of the U.S. interstate highway system. That is crazy. And then meanwhile, here, we're not even building any high-speed rail. And in fact, they stopped it because Elon came in and said, I'm going to do the Hyperloop, and it's going to be even better. And then that was a total fraud and a total scam, and it blew up, and then nobody went back to say, oh, let's actually do some high-speed rail.
This is part of the reason why you have to stand up against Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom has been governor for 8 years, and they wasted billions upon billions of dollars on the California high-speed rail network. And now every American thinks it's a fucking boondoggle because of an incompetent centrist like Gavin Newsom. And the Democrats had a supermajority in the House and the Senate in California. They could have passed whatever laws they wanted. They could have done whatever they needed to do to get that thing done. They had an $80 billion surplus when Gavin Newsom came into office. And they fucking failed. Now, I don't care if you like the fact that he tweets about Trump or whatever, but when he is a failure objectively at raising the quality of life of Californians, that's the reality. There's 30,000 new homeless people in California since Gavin Newsom came into office. They now have a $20 billion deficit, from an $80 billion surplus to a $20 billion deficit. This is the first time in American history that the population of California has declined under any governor, Republican or Democrat. You're telling me you want that guy in the White House? You telling me you want that guy fixing the problems that Trump created? Are you nuts? Are you legitimately nuts?
It's humiliating. It's humiliating when you look at what they're doing and what we're not doing. We're not doing anything.
The country's first high-speed rail line opened in 2008. Now, high-speed trains crisscross China in a network 20 times more extensive than Japan's. And China has built as much solar and wind power capacity as the rest of the world put together.
So yeah, that's wild, bro. That is wild. China's installed hydropower capacity is bigger than all the next several countries put together. This shows how far China has gone in leading the clean energy revolution.
Wow, look at the dams! The dams! Holy shit!
Look at this, man.
Anarchists really hate dams. This is where socialists and anarchists butt heads the most. Anarchists think that dams are evil, authoritarian impositions on nature, and they want to demolish all dams. This is an anarchist socialist conflict point.
Just leaving everybody in the fucking dust. That's as of 2024. High-speed rail network in China, 2008 versus 2020.
By the way, it's gotten significantly better than this. And I think China is planning on building 5,000 more miles of high-speed rail currently. So it's a lot more than this, and they're planning on building 5,000 more miles. And then they're going to say that the country is complete, like completely high-speed railed.
I mean, they're actually just building shit nonstop. They're building infrastructure. If you look at like some of their airports, just look state of the art compared to our shit is just fucking crumbling and falling apart. We're still coasting based off the New Deal. And that's the thing. We need a New Deal. We need that. Because this country is fucking falling apart.
Kyle is cooking. And this is actually something that I've been saying for a long time. A lot of what makes America good is stuff that happened 100 years ago. Yellowstone, the Hoover Dam, the interstate highway system. This shit is like the New York City subway. That's 100-year-old shit.
Believes in anything anymore. There's like this.
Oh, we have a raid? Who's raiding? Hey, Madeline. Welcome on in. We are drawing Kyle Kalinske in. We are drawing Kyle Kalinske into our side. You should know that I'm very nice to I am a left-wing platformist. I never punch left. And so I am interested in all socialist projects. So just so you're aware of that. I'm nice to people, even if they're silly sock thems. But but anti-communism is anathema, and I will never do it. Kyle's on my left? No. Kyle is significantly to my right. But I'm drawing him over. And it's working.
We need re-education camps, bro. We might need re-education. I'm not so sure a gulag was a bad idea. Come to think of it, this is making me understand a lot of things I previously did not understand. I never used to understand authoritarian left movements. I'd be like, why are you authoritarian? Just be like libertarian left. Listening to these motherfuckers, I'm like, oh, I see. They had to do something about you motherfuckers. We need re-education camps, bro.
Okay. And honestly, this is something that a lot of people, I think, are starting to understand about North Korea or China is a lot of or even Cuba, a lot of the things that we look on and we say, hey, that's excessive. What about the free speech for the fascists, right? They are under siege from our country. Do you know how many people we've murdered in Cuba or North Korea? The United States Air Force had a report on the war on North Korea where they said there are no more structures remaining to bomb. What we did to North Korea is the same thing as what Israel is doing to Gaza. So when North Koreans are viciously are fighting against us tooth and nail, it's because they remember the genocide. It's very important you understand that we committed a genocide in the Korean Peninsula. That is a fact. And so when you see that, now you understand why North Korea is, in my opinion, is that how I would run my state in an ideal world? No, I have a lot of criticisms about some of the things that happen in North Korea that I think might be excessive. I think China is demonstrating a much more open model, and it's effective. You could be both open and strong. And that's what I want to see from left-wing movements, okay? You don't have to be so closed off. And I think they're a little, and I understand why, right? I understand why. And hopefully, the relations with China and North Korea, they can open up North Korea more. I understand, honestly, the last 3 years, according to some reports, is that North Korea is actually kind of undergoing an economic boom. And it's quiet, and people are kind of keeping quiet about North Korea because that's happening.
We might.
So that's just something that is on their radar.
Like nihilism that's now deeply embedded into the psyche of American culture. Because like it's basically, we have like, we're run by a bunch of sadistic rapist, pedophile billionaires and corporations have a stranglehold on this country, and everything is for profit. Everything is a scam. Everything's to make a buck. It's basically like the OnlyFans AI bubble gambling economy. Like, that's what this is. And so nobody believes in anything. Nobody feels anything anymore. There is no greater national project. Whereas, you know, when I look at this, to me, I start thinking, oh shit, we got to beat this. We gotta have the best high-speed rail systems, and we should build them all across this country. We got to have the best airports. We got to rebuild our airports and make them look sexy as fuck. We got to rebuild our highway system and make our highway system, you know, sexier and cooler. Just that alone is enough of a project, a New Deal project that could, like, give people a tremendous number of jobs and, like, get this country, give it the jumpstart that it fucking needs. And now we're at the point where, look at this. This is in Common Dreams. Even Australia is electricity prices down 30% in Australia expose idiocy of Trump's attack on wind and solar. South Australia is showing us that wind, solar, and battery power, when combined, are extremely inexpensive. So the electricity prices are down 30% now because they said, no, let's actually do green and renewable technology. So in every way, everybody's just like smacking us around. I told you this the other day, but this is basically like, and MAGA are insistent on, no, we like Morse code. We're gonna double down on the Morse code machine at the same time the motherfucking telephone was just released. Oh, we're gonna double down on the horse and buggy industry as the car was just released. That's what they're doing. And like, I'm just so sick of being governed by ancient pedophile, war criminal, billionaire idiots. I'm so sick of it. They're totally self-interested. All they care about is their fucking class solidarity and their pedophile solidarity. They're in this insular club.
Chat, ladies and gentlemen, I have breaking news. Our chatter has made it out of the primary. A chatter of ours ran for a local office, and they just told me that they have made it out of the primary. It's for a local board of supervisor, District 10, and they have made it. Pete, he said, fuck it. He threw his hat in the ring. He got out there. I think this is a nonpartisan election if I get it correctly. So congratulations, Pete. You got a lot of doors to knock. You need to get out there, knock some doors. Seems like the incumbent had a little bit of strike there. So congratulations, Pete. We'll do more in the future. Good luck, Pete. You can win this thing.
This insular network where they just make money off anybody and everybody. That's all they really care about. They're facilitating the destruction of the world and World War III and genocides, and like, they gotta go. They gotta go, and we need to have intelligent, forward-thinking, rational leaders who actually are going to try to rebuild this country, make this country beautiful, make this country something to actually like and care about. We're just sitting there as China fucking laps us, as nobody even says anything about it because it's too painful to consider that this country that we used to view ourselves as so much more superior than, now they're just like fucking, they're just lapping us in every way that matters.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe.
By the way, I think that America's attitude toward China is completely incoherent and it doesn't make sense. You can't be like, oh, they're the most evil automaton bastards who are trying to dominate the world. And it's like, but please give us cheap stuff, please. Can you make all our stuff, please? We'll give you dollars that we print. Like, come on. You can't pretend that there's some evil, demonic nation and then rely on them for everything. It doesn't make sense. And Americans were perfectly comfortable doing that. They were perfectly comfortable doing that as long as they thought those people were corrupt. You know, as when they thought that the Communist Party of China were all a bunch of nihilistic, greedy, corrupt oligarchs, they were perfectly okay with it. And then Xi Jinping comes in and he says, we're going to invest in clean energy. We're going to build an ecological civilization. We're going to raise the standard of living of everybody. We're going to care about a poor rural Chinese farmer. Now suddenly they're the big bad and we've got to fight a war with them. Now we need to install a fascist government in Japan. It's weird. It's fucking weird. Once they get strong enough to stand up for their own interests, now suddenly they're a big problem. Oh my God. Oh my God. RFK Jr. and Kid Rock. All right, everybody. Kyle Kulinski, welcome to the real left. Why did he take his both up? It honestly looks like Kid Rock has never used these machines before. Chills. Sir, you were not performing the full range of motion on that exercise. Why are this? Why is he wearing jeans into the plunge pool? Does he not have a pair of shorts?
Where's Kid?
Why is he in the pool with his fucking jeans again? You're a Kennedy. Buy some fucking swim trunks. What the fuck is happening? He drank whole milk in the pool? He probably has track marks on his legs. All right, well, get some fucking regular. There's pants you can wear. There's waterproof pants. Get it? Like, you know what I mean? There are plenty of like wetsuit pants or whatever the fuck that are way more normal than wearing jeans into the fucking pool. What the fuck is going on?
Guys, I don't know if I'm feeling this flyer idea.
Really?
I mean,
It's perfect, dude. How else are three guys in their late 20s supposed to make friends? There's no system in place. A flyer does all the work.
doesn't work for us. All right, read back what we got so far, because I don't.
Okay. What up? We're three cool guys looking for other cool guys who want to hang out in our party mansion.
Sounds a little gay. Yeah,
Right?
it does sound gay.
You know what?
Right? Nothing sexual.
Good. Okay. We're three cool guys looking for other cool guys who want to hang out in our party mansion. Nothing sexual.
Good, good. And add fighters welcome, because we want some tough dudes and some big dudes.
Oh,
I don't want a bunch of tough guys in here wanting to fight me.
No, it
I
would be
mean
good to
that.
have extra protection.
Yeah, extra protection and. All right. Well, put fitness encouraged.
Beautiful. That sounds confusing.
Do you think so?
I'll put dudes in good shape.
Oh, there you go. That solves it. I like
Nice.
dudes in good shape. Okay, but we also need a guy who's funny and fat. We need a funny fat guy, because every crew has a funny fat guy.
Well,
no, I'm the funny fat guy, so don't worry about that.
No, you're not fat, dude.
Yeah, you're also not funny. I want somebody who does observational humor.
Oh, you know what? That would be good.
Observational humor.
You know what, guys?
Cool.
I'm just gonna put nothing sexual again, just to reiterate.
Underline.
Please. Okay.
Please.
Clarity.
Be
Smart.
very clear with
smart.
that.
And I'm thinking that the flyer should be in the shape of a beer mug.
Too complicated.
Yeah. What about a bicep? A bicep. Bicep's good.
Bicep.
All right, let's go with a bicep.
Back
Okay.
to the gay
All right.
again. Back to the gay again.
Yeah, Here we go. What up? We're three cool guys looking for other cool guys who want to hang out in our party mansion. Nothing sexual. Dudes in good shape encouraged. If you're fat, you should be able to find humor in the little things. Again, nothing sexual. Underlined.
Okay.
Great.
I have no problem with that.
No, let's go meet some men.
How much? That is the entire conservative movement now. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia it's a classic. It's a classic. Alrighty, well, chat, I'm gonna call it there. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate you. Thank you for all the support. I'm gonna send you guys, gals, non-binary pals over to VO. VO's sick. Or VO is sick. But VO also has a new emote. Does anybody have the new VO emote? Have I seen the Always Sunny in Philly clip over the new bar owner from Israel? Of course. One of my favorite clips. All right, everybody, stay safe. Solidarity forever, my friends. Here's all my links for my other platforms, etc. And I will see you guys, gals, non-binary pals, very, very soon. Thank you for all the support. Socialism will win. Free Palestine. And I'll see you tomorrow. 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, right here on the Central Committee stream. Bye.